that we find out who that champion is going to be, because they're going to face each other. I do have a sneaky suspicion, just a little sneaky suspicion that it's going to be a case that... hello, what's going on? I can hear noises somewhere. So I've got a sneaky suspicion that it could be a draw. And it might be... okay. It was me shouting, was it? Edward said, let's go CM. It is going to be humbled tonight. CM is going to be humbled tonight. Tony Khan is a douche and needs to grow up. Love you, WWE for life and AEW. Edward, shout out to you. Just proper confused me there. I was sat here and all of a sudden I could hear a sound and I was like, where's that sound coming from? But I couldn't see what you could see, and I think it was the little clip that plays whenever a super chat goes through. So you proper just threw me off for a moment. So Edward, shout out to you. So yeah, I've got a sneaky suspicion that today could be a draw or it could be a no contest, and then we still get the match at All Out. Tony Khan was asked the question, why do you think that you're doing the match now, basically? Why are you not waiting for All Out? And he turned around and he gave a kayfabe answer. He was like, I just can't keep them apart. They're desperate to get at each other. There's no way we would make it to All Out. We've got to do it now type thing. So I think the truth is that he's looking to give Dynamite a boost. He's looking to give the rating a bump. And by giving the rating a bump, I think he's kind of hoping that they can then hold it there. Obviously, they're trying to get over 1 million. It's not the biggest problem in the world. They're holding quite steady at like 950, which isn't that bad. I mean, this is where we've been pretty much all throughout, considering we're, nearly 3 years into AEW and they're holding strong at that kind of 950 mark. Yes, they've had to do a lot of work to keep it there. Yes, they've had to bring in a lot of stars. Yes, you could argue people would like to have seen it grow from where it was. But the fact of the matter is, it is still there. It is still around that kind of 900,000, 950 range. And he's going tonight to try and get that million. He's trying to push it forwards. I don't know if it does it or not. I feel like it probably should. I think it'll be quite a big story if it doesn't. I think if they get in the 900s, like after tonight, with there being CM Punk, Jon Moxley, then I could see that doing the rounds. But I do expect them to break the million. Don't know. I don't know what's going to be seen as a good number. I think as long as they get over the million, he would absolutely take that. So, I could see it being a draw. And then I think we still get CM Punk, Jon Moxley at All Out. So I can see this being the first of a couple of matches. Kevin said, what's the deal with the Jericho to WWE news? Well, I haven't seen any news of Jericho going to WWE. The news is that I've read is that Jericho is hinting that he was the one that they tried to get to come back. So, we heard that WWE had reached out to an AEW superstar, and we didn't know who that was. And apparently reached out to someone. I presumed, and I think a few people presumed it was Swerve, because of Hit Row, and I presumed it was Swerve. But Jericho is hinting now and saying that it was him that had been reached out to. Now, to my knowledge, he's turned them all down, like he's not interested. I don't even know if it's true. I mean, Jericho could absolutely be using that just to get people talking, 100%, right? No doubt in my mind that he might not have been contacted and he might just be hinting that it was him, or it could be true. I mean, Jericho is a big name. It would be good for WWE to get someone like Jericho to go back and do another run. So I don't know. I'm really torn on as to whether it's true or not. I'm really split as to whether it's true or not. But either way, WWE did reach out to someone in AEW. That person in AEW apparently turned them down and did tell the higher-ups at AEW that WWE had contacted them. But either way, there's no movement, so there's nothing in regards to Jericho going back. That's it. I mean, that's the only story I've seen, so... David said, Dynamite was number 2 in the ratings. Number 1, Real Housewives. Well, there's no shame in being number 2, is there? I mean, I don't know. To me, like, they've held strong. The way I look at it is that 900,000 is all right. Like, for them to be 3 years in and to have held that number for this amount of time, I don't see that as being like a negative. I know that it's being spun by certain fans as that, there's no growth and they've brought in CM Punk and they're still exactly where they were. But to be honest, I mean, in this day and age, it is such a fight to just get like views and get people's attention because there's just so many things for people to do now, so many alternatives. And not just like TV. I mean, you've got video games that are bigger than ever now, and you've got streaming platforms more than ever. So there's just so much for people to do that I think for them to hold at that 900,000 is pretty good. So I'm not too down on their ratings, but it'll be interesting. It's worth just touching on because it'll be interesting to see what tonight does. Hasib said, what are your thoughts on Jericho stating that higher-ups want him, Sammy, and Kevin Owens on the same roster, as it can't be Kevin Owens as they are both. Do you see him going to WWE as it can't be Zayn, Kevin Owens as they are both re-signed? Do I see Jericho going to WWE? Not really, no. I mean, to be honest, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if WWE wanted him, but equally, I am struggling to believe that it was him. I think, if WWE were to grab someone from AEW, Jericho would be a name I could see them going for. But he is, I don't know, he's got his music as his entrance theme. I don't know that I could guarantee that would be the case in WWE. And he's just doing everything he wants to do. I mean, from a creative point of view, he's doing everything he wants to do. He's picking the groups that he wants to be working with. I've got to think he played a big part in who was in Inner Circle. I've got to think he played an even bigger part as to who was in the Jericho Appreciation Society. We know that he plays a big part in picking his feuds. I mean, I just don't see him getting that kind of creative freedom in WWE because you've got to work within their restrictions. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he certainly can't be. I don't know. I just don't. Maybe it'd be different under Triple H, but he's been doing a lot of things I think that he has wanted to do, and I think that he is like enjoying more creative freedom than ever. More creative freedom than when he was working with WWE. Obviously, it's a different animal now under Triple H, so it's hard to say because if he was to go back, Triple H would undoubtedly listen to him. And little things like him having, like, Judas as his music. Under Triple H, I could see that being, like, okayed. And maybe under Vince as well. Vince did have a bit of a soft spot for Jericho. So maybe he would have allowed that. But it's not the normal thing, is it, for WWE to use an actual track as entrance music? That's not really something they like to do because you've got to pay royalties and everything for that. I mean, every time that's played, I've got to imagine that Jericho gets, a little bit of money for it being played on TV. That tends to be what happens with like music tracks. If you use them, unless you just outright like buy the rights to them or something, which is something Tony Khan has been doing. Obviously, Jungle Boy, Moxley, they've got those kind of well-known tracks. And WWE have certainly gone down that road, but I just don't see Jericho getting the same creative freedom. So it does make me wonder or question as to why he would go back. Why would he want to go back? I think that he's doing everything he wants to do. I think he's a massive player in AEW. And I just don't. He'd be a big player in WWE, but he would not get the same focus because there's just so many stars, so much talent, so many stars. I just don't know that I could see him getting the same kind of spotlight. He would get like, a segment and, that would be it really. So I don't know. I'm still torn as to whether it's true or not, to be honest. I'm still torn as to whether he's telling the truth because I think that if there's a way of getting a bit of publicity, Jericho's very good at latching onto it. If there's a way of getting people talking about him, he's very good at jumping onto it. And I totally could believe that as soon as that came out that, WWE reached out to someone, can totally believe Jericho thinking, I'll say it's me. Even though it's not, I'll say it's me. or it could be true. I mean, this is my point. It's a difficult one to know the truth. I don't believe Jericho on this one, says Trini. There was a point when he was a hot commodity, but he's not a hot commodity right now. Everyone in the company, why would they call him? I mean, I'm torn on it because Jericho is a name, even though he might not be that hot in AEW right now, and the Jericho Appreciation Society might be a bit a poor man's inner circle. He's still a name, isn't he? You know, he's still around in the Attitude Era. He's still, you know, has got this career that spans WCW, WWF, you know, ECW as well, New Japan. Like, he's a name. He's someone that if you put on a WrestleMania poster, people will be excited to see and would be interested to watch. If you put someone like Damian Priest on a WrestleMania poster, I don't know, like, what that kind of generates. It's undeniable if you put Jericho on there, it generates a bigger buzz. So from that perspective, I can see it. But from the other perspective, I just think, well, if you was trying to get just one person out of AEW, would it really be Chris Jericho? Would that really be the one that you would go for? Is that really the one that you're going for? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I feel like we heard big reports that Vince really liked Wardlow. So Wardlow is a name that I've always had at the top of that list. And if it's not going to be Wardlow, I would imagine MJF. I mean, MJF is someone that is seen as, you know, young, incredibly talented promo. In-ring maybe doesn't grab the attention as much, but he's still a very good worker. You know, he's very clean in the ring. Don't tend to see too many botches coming out of his matches. Even though, like, you don't get, like, thrill rides when it comes to his matches, he does great selling, and he plays the heel part of the match very, very well. So I kind of think that MJF and Wardlow are, dare I say, higher on the list. But it really depends what WWE want to go for, because if they just want to bring in some name value, if they just want to bring in someone that's, you know, a legend, then they absolutely could reach out to Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho. I was just thinking Jon Moxley then, because I was like, would they go for Moxley? But Moxley's very similar because he's having a fantastic time being Jon Moxley. He didn't have a great time being Dean Ambrose. Like, I don't think he enjoyed Dean Ambrose. So I don't think he wants to go back to being Dean Ambrose. I think he's loving Jon Moxley. So, you know, he's a bit more hardcore. He can work the indie scene. You know, WWE definitely won't let him do that. He definitely wouldn't be allowed to be working GCW and places like that, which might be for the better. But, yeah, I think Jon Moxley is someone which I am also struggling seeing going back. Jericho, I sort of struggle seeing going back, mainly from the Jericho side, because I think he's having a great time. I think he's enjoying working with Tony. I think he's enjoying helping AEW and kind of growing that. I think that he has a bigger impact in AEW. I don't think he grows WWE. He might be able to bring through some young talents by having them work with him in WWE. But I think his presence is greater in AEW. And yeah, I'm struggling to see him go back as a result. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Everyone wants to sign Big Bird from Sesame Street. Yeah, biggest free agent out there. Daniel said, I think one change could be Sammy and Eddie. They have a match booked for All Out, but Sammy has been off since his wedding. I think they will end up cancelling that match. Brenton said, what do you think the main event being tonight? Can they not think of anything else but to have a messy finish? Meltzer said that the main event for All Out is still Punk versus Mox. Yeah, I mean, as soon as it was booked, my feelings were that it was going to be a draw and it was going to be a way of bumping Dynamite. And then that means that, you know, we've got to get this sorted and it gets sorted at All Out kind of a thing. So if that happens, it really won't surprise me. I think actually the result I am favouring, see, there's just enough in it for the other person to want a rematch. So, you could go that way. But I think it's more likely that it'll be a no contest, double count out, outside interference, something along those lines, which means we need a match to happen at All Out to get this sorted. And who knows, the All Out match could end up being like a steel cage match. If we get some outside interference tonight, then it might be that we need a match, not just a normal one. We need one to keep people out. And actually, CM Punk against Moxley, I don't know, we have seen a steel cage match, haven't we? It's not a match that we see that often, though, in AEW. We obviously get blood and guts, but that's more like a cell. I'm thinking like a cage with no roof, like a proper cage match. We don't tend to get that so often. But I remember Cody being in one and jumping off the top of a cage. So we have had them. And I think maybe even the Bucks were involved in one. So, yeah, I maybe we do that. Maybe we do a match tonight and then at All Out we do the rematch, but it's got some sort of stipulation added to it, be it a cage or, I don't know, we'll have to see. But, yeah, I expect there to be a screwy finish. Did you see there was a talent meeting before Hangman and Punk situation, and that it's actually Moxley who pitched for tonight's match with Punk to happen tonight? I didn't see that it was Moxley that pitched for it, no. The only thing I've heard is Tony saying that I couldn't keep them apart, blah, 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 blah. So I haven't actually heard, the behind-the-scenes details as to how the match came about. I've just presumed that it was Tony that did it as a way of bumping the Dynamite rating, to be honest. This is one of the biggest matches you can do. CM Punk, champ, taking on Moxley, interim champ, putting it on Dynamite. You're so close to that million. Is this what's going to tip it over the line? So if Moxley proposed it, it's interesting that, Tony didn't think of doing it first. Either way, I expect it to be, a draw or something like that. And then we get the rematch at All Out. I did see there was a talent meeting. Yeah. So Meltzer's been saying that there is in his words, ton of backstage drama. So it's not apparently just Hangman and CM Punk. Certainly implying there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than just that. A ton of backstage drama. So, I suppose the fallout of Hangman and CM Punk could result in as people pick sides, if you will. That could, fuel more drama. But, yeah, I did see that there was a talent meeting. The other thing I saw as well is that Shida has got a belt. So we've spoke a lot about, are there too many belts in AEW? And my feeling is that it's all right. I just think there's a lot of non-AEW belts that get carried, which makes it look like there's more. So, you've got the IWGP, you've got the AAA, you've got FTW, although FTW is sort of recognized by AEW, even though it's not recognized by AEW. So you've got Ring of Honor belts, which is sort of AEW, but it's not AEW. It's kind of like NXT belts being on the main roster. You just don't really see that. We don't see the NXT guys coming onto the main roster, but we do get the Ring of Honor champions on AEW. So this is what adds to the perception of there being too many belts. I think if you actually just got down to the core AEW titles, I think we're all right. But just made me smile that Shida has won a belt, and she apparently is going to be carrying that now in AEW. It's the Pro Wrestling Wave Championship. And apparently she had it on Elevation, so I think it's already been shown in AEW, or is about to be shown on AEW. So add that. If you are counting the belts, how many different belts have been shown, you can add that one to your list as well. The Pro Wrestling Wave, I think Women's Championship, or Championship. So, that made me smile. Just because it comes up in conversation pretty much all the time. Do you think there's too many belts? Sean Rossap tweeted he thinks there's more changes coming for All Out. Interesting. Daniel said, Fightful reported Moxley pitched the idea to happen. Tony went with it, and eventually CM Punk agreed. Hasib said, I heard Punk called for the match tonight as he didn't want two champions at the pay-per-view. He wants to defend against Moxley with one belt, so I think Punk wins tonight. Did you see Survivor Series ticket sales? I did. Very good. Very encouraging. Meltzer saying that this show has sold out like in the quickest that, in recent memory, quickest he can remember. So, I mean, there is just so much optimism around what Triple H is doing. I think that you really don't see too many people complaining about what WWE are doing at the moment. There's also a graph doing the rounds, which shows that the 6 shows this year from Raw and SmackDown that have got the most wrestling per hour have all been Triple H shows, which is going to come as no surprise whatsoever. It's the least surprising graph I've ever seen. But it was still interesting to see it confirmed in graph form. That's doing the rounds on Twitter from WrestleNomics, I believe, put that together. So, yeah, the 6 Raw and SmackDown episode with the most wrestling per hour in 2022 are all Triple H shows. So, but as I said, that's not very surprising news, but just, good to confirm. Drops of Jupiter said, did you see new footage of AEW video game Fight Forever? It looks pretty good. It reminds me of the old games. I just wish entrances were longer, but I can't wait. Yes, I have, and I am impressed with it. And it does look like games from, the past. It's the kind of game that I could see me enjoying. I don't know that I will get it because I've very much just learnt my lesson, to be honest. I used to buy the WWE game year after year after year, and year after year after year, it would go unplayed. I mean, I've got a Switch upstairs, and on my Switch, I have Battlegrounds, WWE Battlegrounds. You might remember there was one year, I think 2K21 never came out. After the disaster that was 2K20, they had a year off, and so they did Battlegrounds instead. And it was fun, it was arcadey, and to be honest, that's more my kind of thing. I don't want a real complex game, because I just don't have the time. I want something I can pick up, really get into, have a bit of fun with, and that's that, basically. And I've still not played it. It's on my Switch. I bought it when it came out, downloaded it, and I've never touched it. And I think I didn't bother with 2K20. But I do have 2K19, never touched. Well, can't say I've never touched it. I think I did play for like all of a few hours, and that was about it. Probably you could say the same for 2K18 and beyond, really. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last wrestling game I put any sort of time into. And I've just kind of, I didn't bother with 2K22. I certainly had a little look at it, and I was like, and if it drops in price and goes down, like, sometimes once they've been out about 6 months, they can really crash in price. Who knows? I still might pick it up. And the same could be for AEW, but I can't say I've got any plans to go racing out to get it. I'm really interested in the scores, the reviews of it, though. I think it's going to do really well because it does kind of strike you as that old school kind of here comes the pain, no mercy, like the games that people love. And it was based on all of that. I remember them saying that the engine will be based on those games. Might not be identical, but they will take the best elements from those games. And it looks great. The one thing I would say is the graphics don't feel like PS5, Xbox, whatever we're up to now. Kind of this generation. They don't. I don't know that the graphics are going to blow people's minds. That is no problem for me whatsoever, though. Like I don't give a flip about graphics. I grew up with a Master System, right? My first computer was a Master System. You should see the graphics on that thing, right? Well, I had a Game Gear. You should see the graphics on that. So and that was revolutionary at the time because it had a color screen. So I'm used to just not the sharpest of graphics. So that means nothing to me. I mean, the nicer they are, the better. Fine, but as I said, I got excited for Battlegrounds, and that didn't have the greatest graphics. So yeah, graphics aren't something I care about. So AEW, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the main game. So I'm definitely giving it a bit of a side eye. Let's put it that way. Days, MJF is the biggest failure in history. What makes you say that? Are you just trolling AEW fans at the moment? Maybe you could say that his storyline is. I don't know that his story is the biggest failure, but I think that it's definitely gone off the boil. It'll be really interesting actually to see what reaction he gets when he comes back. I expect him to come back at All Out. They've kept him away for a long time. He's not been referenced or anything like that. They've really sold the idea that his promo was real and, he's gone away for a long time. It's got to be time for him to come back. It's got to be time. I can't imagine they're going to keep him off TV for much longer. Tony's been quite brave, in all fairness. They've bobbed around the 900,000, and some of the best segments in recent years have been MJF segments. So to have, it's kind of like, trying to go through a football season if you have Tom Brady and just not playing him. So I kind of think like Tony's been quite brave and very committed to this story, but I don't know that the end result of this is going to be what they're hoping it was going to be. Because I think what they were hoping it was going to be was that everyone would be talking about it and it'd be this massive deal. And honestly, WWE derailed that. I mean, sod's law, they would do this story and Vince would retire during it. I mean, and Triple H would take over and the WWE product would just go crazy. And all these returns would happen in WWE, and we're getting Loomis and Carrion and Dakota and Johnny Gargano. So it's like, who's talking about MJF now? I mean, maybe in like AEW hardcore fan circles, he's still a big topic, but I don't see him trending. I don't see people talking about him. No one mentions him, or, very rarely do we have an MJF conversation. So I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know the way forward on this one. I really don't know the way forwards. I think the way that I would book it is I would bring him back at All Out. I would have him jumping through the crowd trying to get to the microphone and screaming, you've kept me quiet for too long kind of a thing as he gets dragged away. And that would do it. Try and make it feel as real as possible and just see, I've said this before, but just see what's the reaction, because you can get instant reaction on Twitter, and just have a look at Twitter and see what people are saying. Are people saying, oh, this is cool, I'm really enjoying this? Or are people confused, like, is this real? Is this real or is this scripted? And if you've got people like that, then you've still potentially got something. But if the responses coming back are like, this is cringe, this is cringe, they need to drop this story. If those are the responses, well, then the way forwards. But I don't think you're going to quite know the way forward until you get that reaction. So if I was Tony, I would do that. I would test the waters. I would try and find a way of seeing, how do people feel about this story? How do people feel about what's going on with MJF? Where are we? With everything that's gone on in wrestling, where are we? Get that reaction and then, take it from there. If it's worth sticking with and doing more, then great, great. If not, then let's abandon it and, we'll find something different for MJF to do, So, yeah, interesting. Aseeb said, have you seen reports WWE are looking to bring Bronson Reed back? Is he someone that would excite you like the other names? I can't say that I've seen those reports that they're looking to bring him back. And is he not signed with New Japan? I mean, I know he's working for New Japan and competing with New Japan, but maybe that's under a match-by-match contract or something. I mean, I'm under the impression he's signed. So I don't know. I don't know how realistic that is. So is he someone that would excite me? Not particularly, to be honest. He wasn't someone that massively excited me when he was in NXT. He was someone that I thought had potential, but I don't think we ever fulfilled that potential. It really felt like he was a developmental talent, and then he went to the main roster and never actually got called up. So I kind of felt like I wouldn't be down on him coming back, let's put it that way, but he was someone that I was kind of let's see where we get to with this guy. He's got potential, but I think part of the problem was that I just couldn't name you great Bronson Reed matches. He's a big guy. He's very agile. He's very Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader-esque. In fact, I seem to remember he did wear some flames, which were very Bam Bam-esque. And I think he even in the early days wore like a Vader-type ring gear. So you can see where his influences have come from. And obviously both of them are great superstars. So this is what I'm saying, like, he's got great potential. He's really agile. He's a big guy. He's no nonsense. But I just can't name you any great Bronson Reed matches. So I definitely feel a lot more comfortable him being in WWE with Triple H booking. Let's put it that way. I think him under Triple H could be very interesting. So, yeah, it's not one that I would freak out over, but it's one that I would be... Do you know what? I feel like Triple H. You know when a football team is taken over by a new manager? Like Man United have just been taken over by Eric Ten Hag, right? Ten Hag wants all these players. And there's this big debate about, should we get Casemiro? Should we get Gakpo? Should we get Anthony? Should we have got Martinez? Should we have got Malacia? Like, there's this big debate, like, should we have been buying these players? My feeling on it is, if the manager wants them, go and get them. You back the manager, right? There's no point getting this great manager if you're then not going to give him the players that he wants. So I feel the same about Triple H. Like, Bronson Reed doesn't massively do it for me. Hit Row doesn't massively do it for me. But if these are people that he wants because he believes in them and he believes he can tell stories with them, and he might even have stories in mind for them, then just let him get them, man. Let him get them. So if he wants Bronson Reed, go and get Bronson Reed. If he wants Hit Row, go and get Hit Row. If he wants to go and re-sign flipping Zack Ryder, go and do it, right? You go and get whoever you want and tell the stories you want to tell, because so far he's doing awesome and he's doing a great job. So that's kind of how I look at it when it comes to people that are coming back. Brenton said, since time has passed, is your view of Danielson-Garcia match still the same? Cornette and Last say that Bryan Danielson was brought down and Garcia was not elevated. Guys like Garcia shouldn't be over-pushed. To be honest, I'm pretty good at... I'm very honest about, like, what I see at the time. So there's not really any reason for that to change over time. My view of the match was that it was solid. I didn't think at the time that it was a fantastic match. I remember saying that the first two falls were rushed, and I remember saying that it didn't feel like we had kind of built the drama up enough. There was a moment where I think, Danielson's doing some selling, and it kind of feels like, okay, the foundations are there, but I don't think we ever really capitalized on those foundations. I mean, that was not a 5-star match. I can't even remember how I scored it. I can't remember if I was like a 3.5, 3.75, something along those lines. My thoughts on that have not changed in the slightest. I thought that it was good, solid, fine, but for me, it wasn't spectacular. If you're going to do a match that's 2 out of 3 falls and you're going to have it go, about half an hour in length, to give that much time to that kind of a match and for it to have 2 great in-ring workers involved, you are expecting that to be kind of around the 5-star region. Now, there's no guarantee it's going to be 5 stars, but 4.75, 4.5, 4.25, to me, it's just not in that range. It's not in that range. It's down in the 3s, but there was obviously people that enjoyed it a lot more than me that had it in the 4s. But no, my opinion on that hasn't changed. Daniel said, PW Insider just reported that minutes before the talent meeting, Tony told his chief legal officer to send an email to Nick Khan and Stephanie to stop tampering with his talent. Is that true? Sent an email to Nick Khan and Steph to stop tampering with his talent. Interesting. Why has Vince Russo stated that WWE has gotten worse over Triple H? What show is he watching, says biggest Halloween fan. The product has improved. Why does Vince Russo just like to hate? Did he do a good job in the Attitude Era? I think he did a good job in the Attitude Era, or he did a good job with obviously he moved around a bit, but I think he did a good job because I think the Attitude Era is... I think he had his finger on the pulse as to what the Attitude Era was all about. He kind of knew what people were looking for. They were looking for that kind of shock jock, crash television. I mean, to be honest, when I think of the Attitude Era, I think of things like South Park and like that kind of shocking animation, you know? We just weren't seeing cartoons and animation like that where, you know, Kenny gets killed all the time. There's heads that are being, you know, falling off. There's like blood that's being simulated, and, you know, there's just loads of kind of sexual references, and we just haven't been seeing stuff like that. Jerry Springer. You know, again, you know, this kind of two people coming on. They reveal they've had an affair. They're both trying to fight. You know, the bells ringing in the background. You've got security trying to separate them. Like, that was the time. That was like the late 90s, early 2000s. And you've got things like nu metal coming in as well. That was very on trend, like Limp Bizkit. Obviously, you know, you've got things like Dr. Dre as well. Like hip hop music was like really in the mainstream. Eminem was obviously really in the mainstream. And think about like Eminem's kind of first few albums where he's really like taking shots at people. I mean, God, if YouTube was around, I would imagine every video would have been a flipping diss track. Like, that was kind of the humor at the time, you know, and as you get a little later, then you've got things like Jackass that are coming in. So I think what Vince Russo did a very good job of is being aware of like those kinds of things. And he was, I'm trying to think of who that radio DJ is. There's a radio guy in America that's massive. Howard Stern, is that his name? Howard Stern. I feel like he was kind of a big part player in that era as well. Still is, but I think he was even bigger going back to that kind of early 2000s, late 90s. Anyway, you get my point. So, you know, nu metal, South Park, Jackass, Jerry Springer, all of those kind of shows, those kind of things are very much what I think Vince Russo had his finger on, and he was very aware that they needed to kind of have a product that was more reflective of that. And, you know, at the start, he was writing in the magazine, and the stuff he was putting in the magazine, I've never actually read, but I know that Vince saw that magazine and was like, this is what our show should be like. This is what we should be putting on TV. Because Vince Russo was writing bits in the magazine, in the official magazine, and Vince read it and he was like, this is what we should be putting on TV. And so, you know, he was brought into creative. And however you feel about the Attitude Era, no one can deny that it's not like one of the biggest money-making eras. You know, it got the ratings through the roof. You know, everything was just wild. And it was car crash TV. It was can't miss. But the thing with the Attitude Era is it's very much an exception. It's an exception because what came before was not that. And what came after was not that. So a lot of people look at the Attitude Era and they want those times back. They want those kind of times back. You know, there's a lot of people that got into WWE that have drifted away since because the product has not reflected that before or since. So for me, it's an exception era. It's an era that stands on its own. It's actually an era that I'm not that fond of. It's like, I much prefer the golden era. I much. If I had to sit down and watch a pay-per-view from the Attitude Era or from the golden era, I would go golden era every single time. So golden era is kind of your mid-80s to early 90s, where you've got Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man. You know, you've got like all these massive Rowdy Roddy Piper, all these big stars, big names. And it's just like really fun, and I just love that era. I love the stars from that era. It's some of the greatest names in the history of wrestling. I mean, it's a who's who, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs. Just tag team wrestling was immense. Hulkamania was running wild. I was never crazy about Hulkamania, but I did love the Warrior at the time. So I was massively into the Warrior. Obviously, in '90, you get the emergence of the Undertaker, and I love early Undertaker in particular. So mysterious and so different, and yeah, really cool. I love Golden Era. Attitude Era, not as crazy about. I can appreciate McMahon and Stone Cold, but I think there was just too many brawls. There was too much bra and panties. It was too shock television. So for me, it doesn't do it for me. It's not my favorite era. I can respect it, and I understand why people love it, but it's not my favorite era. So if someone was to say, did Vince Russo do a good job? I would say yes. I would say that he did a good job at the time for, what was needed. But I think that you could equally point at a lot of things that he did that were rubbish, where he just completely went, rogue and got things wrong as well. He did a great job in WWE, but he didn't do a great job in WCW. I don't think his booking in TNA was very good. I think that he had his finger on the pulse, but that was very quickly, the world moved on, and it was not able to replicate it. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't listen to Vince Russo, so I couldn't tell you as to why he thinks it's rubbish now. I genuinely don't know. I mean, listen, the thing with wrestling is it's so subjective that I could love it. I could love something, and you could hate it. And, you're just never going to please everyone. Everyone wants different things from wrestling. And that's fine. I mean, you can have so many different things. I mean, look at the Effie stuff. The Effie stuff, that appeals to people. There's people out there that enjoy Effie and think that Effie is a fantastic pro wrestler. And then there's people out there that think Effie is one of the worst things to happen to wrestling. So, you're never going to please everyone. You're never going to find something that kind of, caters to all. But you've really got to just try and please the majority. And so my answer to that would be, I think Triple H has done a really good job of pleasing the majority. Long answer, but we got there. Miss Clown said, did you know Giant Haystacks was in WCW for a while? I did. Loch Ness? Is that his name? I'm trying to think back into my memory banks. But I think he didn't have many matches. I think he only had about 4 or 5 matches. His mobility was gone. It was at the end of his career. He was never the most mobile of people anyway. At this point, he was huge, and it was just a lump, really. I mean, there just wasn't much he could do, or there wasn't much anyone could do with him. So, a real shame because he could have been a real big. If he had got his mobility and he was able to really move around, he could have been. I don't know how big he would have got, but he would have had more than just a handful of matches. I know that. It's now been confirmed by Fightful, the email reaching out to WWE from AEW about tampering. How would you book Jericho in WWE? How would I book Jericho in WWE? To be honest, I think what he's trying to do in AEW is the right thing. I just don't think it's quite working. I don't think it's been booked quite right. So I don't know if we need more vignettes and we need more kind of backstage moments, because I just don't feel for example, I can't sit here and tell you, I can't name the names of everyone in the Jericho Appreciation Society. I know it's Garcia, I know it's Jericho, I know it's Hager, but then when I get to those 2.0 guys, I think it's Matt Morgan, I don't know. Daddy Magic is all I know him as, and I don't even know the name of the other guy. And I don't think that they've really done enough backstage vignettes. If you think about Inner Circle, they were doing stuff like going to Vegas, or we would see them having conversations in a locker room. I just feel like with Jericho Appreciation Society, we get stuff in the ring, but we don't really get anything really, they're just promos. I don't even think creatively they're promos in the ring. are that great. Like, why have we not celebrated Daddy Magic's birthday? Why have we not celebrated the 6-month anniversary of the Jericho Appreciation Society? Why has Daniel Garcia not bought everyone new outfits and they unveil them in a segment? Like new sports entertainment outfits. Because I remember one Inner Circle segment being where they all bought matching jackets. And, they were all in a circle on and they all were handing out these jackets. I kind of feel like we've just not had any of that with the Jericho Appreciation Society. Now, maybe this has played out somewhere else, being the Elite, Elevation, Dark, Rampage. I have no idea. But I just don't feel that Jericho Appreciation Society has had the same time given to it that the Inner Circle did. And as a result, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel as prestigious. They don't feel really as much of a... They did fairly well with putting them over in that stadium arena match. They got the win over Blackpool Combat Club there, and then Blackpool Combat Club got the victory at Blood and Guts. So they did give them a key win. So I do, fair play for that. But I think if I was to book Jericho in WWE, I would do the same thing. I would put young guys with Jericho, a little bit like what we saw with Judgment Day. So, Rhea, she's been around for a little while, but she's still relatively new. Damian Priest's been around for a while, but still relatively new. We're only like 12 months into the roster kind of a thing. So putting them with Edge and having Edge kind of guide this young talent, but doing some stuff with them as well. Do you know what I mean? Like doing some interesting segments with them. We've seen Judgment Day attacking people backstage. Obviously, we've seen Rhea Ripley going after Dominic Mysterio. Obviously, there's been that big moment where Edge was kicked out, Finn Balor took over. I would say Judgment Day needs some wins. I would say that they are lacking some momentum. They don't really look like the biggest of threats, and I think that's a problem as well. So I think even they've not been booked the best. But that's the kind of way I would use Jericho. I would, not Judgment Day, but a faction of young talent that I would give time to. So I want segments. I want, talk show segments. I want, you could bring back the highlight reel and they could have, talk show bits. They could do some funny vignettes where they're going off and doing things. I liked the one where it was, Hangover-esque. Do you remember that? And they went to Vegas and it was like the Hangover movies. I would kind of have some fun with them. And also, they need wins. They need to be beating people and look incredible. And, you can do a big multi-person match at WrestleMania. I would have him that way. Now, do that so that he can come back and help this younger talent. So I would have him come back and, really work with this younger talent. Then, obviously, ultimately, I think the fans would love to see him have, one final solo run as well. So I think I'd probably wrap it up with, his solo run. It would all come down to a lot of conversations, like how long has he got left? What can he actually do? We might be getting to the point in Jericho's career soon where solo matches need to be very sparingly. You can't just have him doing solo matches that often because he's just not in the same shape that he was, So, yeah, there's a lot to kind of take into account. But I think the Jericho Appreciation thing is the right thing. I just don't think it's been done quite the right way. What could be realistically done about contract tampering? It's not like any other sport where a governing body can discipline a team. If this were the 60s or 70s, the NWA would have stepped in. You could take them to court for tampering with your talent, but that are under contract. But what you would get out of that, I really don't know. To be honest, it's nothing more than a, we know you've done this, stop doing this, slap on the wrist type thing. And whether it actually results in WWE paying that any attention or not, I can only imagine Nick Khan will read that email and have a little chuckle to himself. So, make of it whatever you will. I think Tony would be open to taking them to court, but as I said, whether that would actually result in anything, if they were to interfere again, would be questionable, But I think that really it's just a message of, we know you've done this. Do not do this again. Otherwise, we will take you to court. It's more of a threat. But PW Insider reported 10 minutes ago, AEW officials did send an email warning not to tamper. Do it again. Is this harsh? It's not harsh. It's just a threat. It's just a threat. It's just, put yourself in Nick Khan's shoes. He doesn't want those emails coming to his roster. Yeah. If you're Tony Khan, you don't want a competitor emailing or tampering with your talent. They're under contract. They're your guys. They're not going to, be getting out of those contracts. So send an email saying, forget it, basically. Yeah. Stop doing it. Otherwise, I will look to take legal action. Now, as I said, what legal action can be taken, I really don't know. But, just the threat of legal action and being aware that we know you've done this. We've been told that you've done this. Do not come after any of our talent again. That's the message, basically. So, is it harsh? I don't think it's harsh. I think it's just a very clear line in the sand of, we do not appreciate you doing this and don't think you're going to be able to do it without any repercussions. Because if we have to take you to court, we'll take you to court. Whether anything comes of that or not, don't know, but I can make things uncomfortable for you. You've got to remember, Tony Khan's, he's got money. It's not going to be a problem for him to pay for a court case. WWE are not going to want needless expenses. So sometimes it's not even down to like what you can get out of it. It's down to just causing disruption. If you come after one of my talents, I'll take you to court. Come after another talent, I'll take you to court a second time. And, I can tie you up in legal proceedings, and I can just make things messy and uncomfortable for you. So I think it's more so than, I actually think he's going to win a case and actually achieve anything. But harsh? I don't think it's harsh. I think it's the line in the sand. A bit ironic, AEW and Tony Khan accusing WWE of tampering when they did it with Jeff Hardy, says James. Interesting point. Tony should let Triple H blow up the WWE roster. That will cause problems in the WWE. There's too many people. Some of the talent post open dates on Twitter and ask to contact for booking purposes. It might be a hard sell in court for them. Alex said, do you know the autograph cards you got? Have you ever thought about getting them graded and put into protective sleeves? Any interesting ones apart from Vince? Never thought about getting them graded. I don't care about that. I'm not a collector in that sense. Like, I'm a collector in the sense of I just want the autographs. Very much like, if I was to go to a show, I'd love to try and, get the autographs of the wrestlers. I've always been that way. I've always if the wrestlers are there after and they're selling shirts and autographs and whatever, you can guarantee I'll be up there snooping around, like trying to figure out how much money have I got, who do I want to get. Like I'm not the kind of guy that goes to a show, goes home. I'm all about the merch. I'm all about the autographs. I'm all about the pictures with the superstars. I just think they're really cool things to have. And just for me, that's part of going to one of those kinds of shows. And that was actually one of my biggest disappointments when I went to NXT UK. I've been to NXT UK quite a few times because I went to their takeover show. And I understand they wouldn't do this at a takeover show. But I did go to one of their TV tapings. I've been to a few of their takeover shows. I went to their Royal Albert Hall show. I went to the UK tournament when it started. And I went to the Birmingham TV taping. And the TV taping was the most disappointing for me in what I'm about to say. There was no meet and greet. There was a merch stand that was just, some worker was there, no one. Just some casual worker that was selling like shirts. The merch wasn't that special. And there was no talent. I mean, I went to a house show of NXT in America and in Tampa. And you had, I can't remember exactly who it is, but I think it was like Deonna Purrazzo, Casey Catanzaro, and I don't know, Xia Li. Yeah. it was somewhere along those lines. I remember walking in and there was 3 women that were sat at a table that had been a part of like a Mae Young Classic. They hadn't really established themselves, but they'd just been a part of a Mae Young Classic. And so they were just doing free signings. I mean, literally, you joined the queue. The queue was moving quite quickly. You could get pictures with them. You could get their autographs. And like, that was it. And like, it was all free. Like, it was just great. I mean, what a great way to build that connection with the fans. Nothing like that at NXT UK. Nothing. I was really disappointed. I thought you'd be able to go and like meet, I don't even care, you know, Wolfgang or whoever, I don't care. But there was none of that. So I not even afterwards, like I didn't see a single person come out into the crowd or anything after the show was over or anything. So and they didn't do house shows. Maybe if they'd done house shows, they would have done them there, but there weren't any NXT UK house shows, or certainly not to my knowledge. I don't remember. It was always just TV tapings. So, yeah, in order of getting things graded, nah, I'm not interested in that. I never got anything interesting other than Vince. I do have a Vince autograph. Cost quite a bit of money to get, but I do have a Vince autograph. I've got Undertaker, which is pretty cool. Who else have I got? I think I've got a Stephanie McMahon. I've definitely got Triple H. I've got some pretty cool ones. I think the oh man, I mean they're all in a box down there, but I would say one of the most special ones I've got is a dual autograph. So you get 2 autographs on one, and it's Cody Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes. Cody and Dusty together on one card, which is pretty cool. That's right up there as well. And I do have a Bruno Sammartino one as well, which I personally love because I love Bruno. So yeah, I've got some good ones. I keep meaning to do like a bit of a stream where I just show them off, but I don't know if that would just be boring. Do you know what I mean? Just showing off autographs. I feel like that's just going to be a bit boring. But you know, if we blast through just key ones or something, that might be all right. I don't know. I do love them though, and actually, I haven't bought any for a long time. I don't even think I've bought one in 2022, and I should really. I should. I did enjoy it was great collecting them. It was just more of a collection kind of a thing. And my plan was to put them in like a frame and put them on the wall. So yeah, I'm not really into grading and stuff like that. My plan was to display them. But I've never got around to any of that. They're literally in boxes at the moment. Right, we're just over a minute away. Edward said, I'm trolling because of his name. Who calls their kid Maxwell Jacob Friedman? Like, seriously? Autograph and merch stream sounds cool, says Lance. Merch is cool. I love merch. It's such a big part of wrestling for me. It really is. I've always loved it. Like, obviously, figures have been a big part of this channel. But even before, like, getting figures, I always, like, used to get little interesting bits. Like, I've got dirt from the Boneyard match in a little capsule on my wall over there. It was a limited edition that WWE was selling, like, actual dirt that was on the ground during the Boneyard match. Like, that, people were making fun of it. I mean, I just went out and bought it. I've got my, I showed it on the stream the other day. I've got my Undertaker Hall of Fame plaque that gives you a little bit of the ring canvas from when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. You get a little bit of the carpet that was used in the ring when his statue was unveiled, and you get a bit of the cloth that was part of what was covering the statue when his statue was unveiled, in like these 3 things all in this plaque. I just love stuff like that. One of my favorite things is I've got a bit of ring canvas from every pay-per-view in 2014, and it's in like this big plaque. And 2014 is such a special year because that's like Daniel Bryan. It's the end of the streak. It's when Sting arrives. So 2014 was a great year. I wish they did that for every year. Such a good idea to have a little bit of the ring from every pay-per-view in like a big plaque. Such a good idea. But they did it for 2014, and then I don't believe they ever did it again. I never saw another one. Right, here we go. We are underway. I think we're going to start with Jericho. So is this going to be the Jericho and Garcia? There is a face-to-face. Okay, so here comes Jericho. Is he on his own? Jericho has come out. I can't see the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Okay, so Jericho has come out, and we've got pyro shooting up into the sky. Just showing last week, Jericho getting involved, attacking Bryan Danielson, and then Garcia would stop Jericho. And now this has meant that we are going to get a face-to-face summit tonight. I've got an authentic jar of dirt from when they remodeled Lambeau Fields. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know what team that's in reference to, but yeah, I don't know what team that's reference to, but whatever sports team it is, I can totally understand you wanting to like own that. That I would be the same. James said the problem is not knowing if they're legit. That is true, but this is where I'm a little bit clever. I don't know how clever, but I'm a little bit clever. I don't just buy autographs on like pictures. Every autograph I've got is a Topps card that's you know, like authentic kind of, you know, this, you know, on the back it says this is a legit. Now, could someone be just printing them and doing the signatures and whatever? Sure. I've no way of proving they're legit Topps cards, but I feel a bit more comfortable purchasing like the Topps cards because those are legit, aren't they? We know Topps do get those autographs. So, yeah, all the ones I've got, like the Dusty and the Cody, that's a Topps trading card. And the Vince is a Topps trading card as well. I wouldn't just buy like a, 8x10 that's signed. Because, yeah, those ones, you don't know. Garcia on his way out. Miguel said, why is Steve Austin called Steve Austin 316? It's because of the speech he gave at King of the Ring. Watch, rather than explain it, try and watch King of the Ring or just that clip. King of the Ring, when he wins it in 96, he talks about Austin 316. I wouldn't get them off Amazon or eBay, says James. I only have one wrestler's autograph, and it was Yokozuna. That's cool, man. That is. Can I just tell you, that's really cool. Yokozuna tragically passed away quite young. I don't have a Yokozuna. I mean, he wasn't really. I don't even know if they did a signed card of Yokozuna. I think if you used to get a Yokozuna one, you'd have to take a gamble on it. So if you got his actual autograph, that's cool. Okay, here we go. We've got Garcia in the ring. Don't listen to the crowd, says Jericho. You're a wrestler, chant. Jericho said last week you had a great match. You slayed the dragon, in my opinion. You put your hands on me, Danny. You'd just gone through hell. I just want you to apologise. Have you seen those two guys in the front row with Paul Bearer shirts? It's two guys in the front row. They got massive Paul Bearer faces on their shirts. Where have they come from? So he's telling Garcia he needs to apologise. Garcia. You knew how special that moment was for me. You knew how special it was for me to share the ring with my hero. People are calling it the greatest match in Dynamite. Who's calling it the greatest match? Who's called it the greatest match in Dynamite history? Who's called it the greatest match in Dynamite history? Is it his mom? That match I had last week was the kind of match that I've dreamt of. Eric said, Days, the new Legends Kane with title is awesome. Have I seen it? I might have seen it. I can't recall it. I can't picture what belt he comes with. I didn't care if people called me a wrestler or a sports entertainer. All I cared about was that moment. And you ruined that moment for me. So Bryan Danielson put his hand out, and all Garcia cared about was that moment. Jericho, I'm sorry you feel that way. There's going to be plenty more moments like that, Danny. You are the best sports entertainer in the world today. He wants to hear him say it. Deep down inside, you know you're a sports entertainer. Say it, Danny. Say it. Say you're a sports entertainer, Danny. Do it, Danny. Say it. You're a wrestler, chant. Here's Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson making his way down. Let's wrestle. Let's wrestle. Daniel Garcia isn't that great. Keep on promoting the bleep out of him for some reason. Bryan Danielson making his way down. I think Danielson believes in Garcia. I think Garcia might be on the verge of joining Blackpool Combat Club. Taz said Garcia should realize where his bread is buttered. So Danielson getting into the ring. Little smile on Danielson's face. I see your mentor is trying to bully you, Daniel. You can be whatever you want to be. I respect us wrestling last week. So we've got Danielson, we've got Garcia, we've got Jericho all in the ring at the moment. And Garcia torn, conflicted. You've got, it's like the angel and the demon on his shoulder. You've got Jericho trying to get him to say that he's a sports entertainer. You've got Bryan Danielson trying to get him to confirm he's a wrestler. Say it, says Jericho. Say it. Stop it. I've got my mentor here. I've got my hero here. I can't do that right here, right now. Why doesn't he just say, I'm a sports wrestler? Jericho grabs him. He pushes Jericho down. Bryan Danielson starts laughing. Just say him. That's what I'd do. I'd be like, guys, I'm a sports wrestler. Yeah, I love you both. Let's go get tacos. So Jericho is shocked. He is stunned. You deserve it, Chant. You deserve it. Daniel Garcia, Bryan Danielson tag team will be known as Daniel Bryan. Cliff said, this is awful. Jericho versus Danielson at All Out. I'm not the biggest fan of sports entertainment, but that was pretty entertaining, says Bryan Danielson. People keep telling me you're the best wrestler. Why is it? Why is it I've been around you for 15 years and I've not seen it once? Joe. I'm the last survivor of the Heart Dungeon. I'd be down for this. I know more about wrestling than you ever will, says Jericho. Oh, do you? Says Bryan Danielson. If we asked Stu Hart, what do you think he would say? If we asked your hero, Owen Hart, who's the better wrestler? I like this. I like this between these. I don't need the Daniel Garcia stuff, but I like this. If we wrestled a match right here in Cleveland with the Lionheart and the American Dragon, who do you think would win that match? You want the American Dragon against Lionheart? All out. All out. Big match. Last time I was in the ring with you, I choked you out and I put you out for 2 months, and I'll do it again. Oh, from behind, Hager. Hager lays into Danielson, picks up Danielson, plants him down. So Hager attacking Danielson, but it looks like Jericho against Danielson are All Out. I'm down for that. I'm definitely down for that. I'm all for building up young stars and fresh talent and all of that, and you could make the argument that, you know, we should be doing that at All Out with Jericho, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Lionheart Jericho against Bryan Danielson. I just want to see it, and I'm down for it. My only concern will be if Jericho does some silliness. He always tends to do some silliness at the end of these matches. There's always, like, you know, the Appreciation Society getting involved or something. Like, if it can just be a straight match between those two, it could be really good. Could be really good. Danielson got leveled. The biggest main event in history of AEW, says JR. JR opening the show, by the way, not coming out halfway through. Britt Baker against Kyleen King. We're going to hear from Ricky Starks. Billy Gunn against Colton Gunn. Dax Harwood taking on Jay Lethel. Death Triangle taking on Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. But Harwood Lethal is coming up next. Camera botch. Right, FTR's music hits, so it's going to be Harwood and Lethal. And it's going to run for one phone. Harwood against Lethal. Are you excited for Ospraey? I'm not a fan of the Lucha Bros. I'm not a fan of their just constant move. Nothing really seems to have an effect. It's just not my. It's not my thing. So I think if Ospreay was facing someone different, I might be more excited. Like I like Ospreay, but anything that involves Penta just kind of makes me think. I just find him so cringe as well. Like where he's like, coming out with like emerging from that tombstone in the entranceway, and the Zero Mero stuff that gets shouted all the time. I don't know. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing. If he was taking on someone else, I'd be more into it. But I think automatically I'm prepared that I'm just going to be zoned out a bit. Here's Jay Lethal making his way down. You mean no selling anything? Yeah, they just don't. It's just like move, and nothing has any consequence. Did you watch the KSI media workout? If so, what was your thoughts? I didn't. Well, I saw all of a few minutes, and I saw KSI just warming up, and I don't know. They were chatting to some influencer. I didn't bother watching. I'm not interested in that. I think there's a press conference which I'm interested in watching, so I can try and learn a bit more about these people. We are underway with Dax against Lethal. Jeremy said Ospreay vacated the Rev Pro title. Danielson Jericho at All Out, Garcia on a pole match. Now we see Cash should have stayed at ringside. Of course, Lethal has got cronies. Jay is too good to need them, says Heather. Heather, hello. CJ Different said United Empire forever. Miss Clown says you might get some if you get a P.O. box. Maybe. It's going to happen one day. What a day that'll be as well. Right, we've just got a little advert saying Dynamite on the end of August. We're actually not that far away from All Out, are we? Do you know, it's on a Sunday, but I don't know what Sunday. I'm going to quickly Google it. All Out is... All Out. September the 5th. So when is that? That's not this weekend, the weekend after. Wow, that's a lot closer than I thought. So, yeah, okay. It's on, we are going to look to do that. Apparently, it's on at the same day as Worlds Collide. And you've got Worlds Collide earlier in the day, and then it's All Out. So I think we're going to look to do Worlds Collide, and then we'll go into All Out. So we'll look to do both. Big chop here by Dax. Chop coming in by Jay Lethal. These two exchanging chops. Into the corner goes Lethal. Big back body drop there by Dax. And you've got Jay Lethal down on his knees. Jay said a lot of good shows are coming up. WWE, AEW, UFC, and boxing. I've actually started putting stuff in a calendar, like a Google calendar thing. So I've actually started to do that now so that I can keep tabs of what's coming up because there is so much on the way. It is busy. No UFC this weekend, so we are doing KSI instead. But then next weekend we've got Clash, and then I think the day after we've got Worlds Collide and All Out, And then there's like some big boxing coming up. Canelo against Triple G is coming up soon. I'm even looking at like Deontay Wilder. He's got a fight coming up. So quite interested to see where we are with him now. Shakur Stevenson as well has got a fight. So yeah, there's quite a bit coming up. We're at picture in picture, by the way, at the moment. So we are underway with Dax against Lethel. Picture in picture. 20 minutes gone. Next weekend is freaking insane, says James. Fury against Usyk in December, supposedly. Well, we'll be doing that. Let me tell you, we're all over that. We did Joshua Usyk. We did Joshua Usyk 2. We did, I think, 2 of the 3 Fury Wilder fights. Couldn't do the first one. I've got a feeling it clashed with something. There was a reason why we couldn't do it. But anyway, we'll be all over that as and when it happens. Jake Paul as well, apparently fighting in October. So we'll be on that also. Listen, loads of things are going to clash. I already know loads of things are going to clash. We're going to have to make some pretty radical decisions. But we'll go with what we think the majority want. Kick out by Dax. Do you think JJ would be beneficial to AEW if Tony signed him? Who's JJ? Jeff Jarrett? Jeff Jarrett? Do you know what? I don't know why he's gone. If we are saying Jeff Jarrett, I really don't know why he's left WWE. Do I think he would be beneficial? My gut feeling would be that he would definitely be a benefit. I can't see him being a hindrance or a problem. I've got to think he'd be more of a benefit than anything. So I would say yes. How he would be used, I'm not too sure. But AEW is a growing company. So I've got to think they'd find something for him. There's a sign in the crowd that says, I came to see the doctor, as Dax Harwood pushes Jay Lethel back in the corner. Uppercut there. Dax Harwood's got one of those knee braces. And again, I was saying the other day, like, whenever I see them, I always think that it's like a bit of cheating. Because, like, I'm thinking they're metal. I'm guessing they're metal. It certainly looks like it's metal. But it's like if they deliver a knee strike or, double knees or something like that, like, I don't know, I feel like it is a bit of a weapon. So, just interesting to see that Dax Harwood has one. She told the police she didn't know she hit them. Her bumper is still in the roads. I don't know what that is. What's that? You should do one MMA. Buchicha is a monster worth watching. Do one. We used to do one. But to be honest, there wasn't many people that joined us for that. I think it used to be on straight after AEW. But not one that people were crazy about, unfortunately. Tony Khan needs Delirious back, or whatever his name was. Why have a commercial for AEW during a match, says J Turbo. Are you happy with how FTR turned out compared to how they were on the main roster? Yes and no. I am happy that they are being booked as credible and they are being booked as top guys. And I really love the fact that they're being put in some matches that can really show what they can do. But to be honest, I think some of their best moments have come in Ring of Honor against the Briscoes, more so than in AEW. And, they're the AAA champs, they're the IWGP champs, but where's the AEW tag champ belts? In fact, I don't even know who the AEW tag champs are right now. It used to be Jurassic Express. Who's the AEW tag champs right now? Is it still Keith Lee and Swerve? Have they got them? I think they've got them, haven't they? That's not great, is it? Not being able to recall whoever the tag champs are. I think it's Keith Lee and Swerve. I mean, to be honest, I don't really get why I'm watching a singles match for Dax Harwood. I'm never crazy about like tag teams in a singles match because I kind of feel like they're tag team specialists. So they should be having tag matches. So, yeah, I mean, look, undeniable. No one can say that they were used better in WWE. No one. If you do, I'm sure you're lying, right? You're lying to yourself at the very least. So, yeah, for me, they're being used better here than they were on the main roster in WWE, but I still don't think it's perfect. I still think their biggest matches have come in Ring of Honor. And I see them, like, I see Dax in particular having quite a few solo matches when I'd much rather see them as, like, a tag team. Tope Suicina. FTR, Dax down on the outside. In goes Jay Lethel. How's the show tonight, says Alexander. It's been all right. This is our first match. We've got quite a long promo to open the show. It's set up Danielson against Jericho at All Out, which I think is really exciting. It's a match that I'm definitely down for seeing at this stage in their career. As we said, Jericho, don't know how much longer he's got, to be honest. Like, got to think he's on the decline. And there's potential for that to be like a really great match against Danielson. So, yeah, that at All Out will be really good. This is our first match tonight. Dax Harwood taking on Jay Lethel. We know they're going to give that world title match at least half an hour. So we know that, that's going to eat up the majority of the second hour. So, yeah, great. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Here's Jay Lethel looking to go against the ropes. Bounces off. Comes back. I don't really know what he was going for. I think he was going for a back elbow of sorts, but he gets caught. Picked up by Dax. Bounces off the ropes into a sit-down powerbomb. It's a lovely sit-down powerbomb. That's a really nice sit-down powerbomb. Bounced him off the ropes. The way that he dropped him down, he really smashed him down with that sit-down. So, it was close to count for Dax. Both guys are down at the moment. Dax getting up to his feet. Is down on one knee. Is up on his feet. Is going round, grabbing the legs of Jay Lethel. Jay Lethel is down. Stomped to the midsection by Dax. Jay Lethel kicks him away. Picks him, grabs a leg. Ooh, went for a dragon screw. Little roll-up pin, but kick out by Lethel. Take down by Lethel. Again, trying to work the legs. Roll up by Dax. Dax trying to get a sharpshooter applied, and it's on. He's got the sharpshooter, but he's over by the ropes. Jay Lethel trying to get to the ropes. Dragged into the center of the ring. Jay Lethel in trouble. Sharpshooter. Sanjay Dutt getting involved. Jay Lethel almost hits Sanjay Dutt. Dax does. Jay Lethel rolls up Dax. Dax kicks out. Feels like we're getting towards the end here. Inside cradle. 1, 2. Kick out. Oof. Round the back. Dax into the corner. Rolls up Lethel. 1, 2. Kick out again. Up top. Cross body. Lovely work by Dax. 2. Kick out again. Wow. Going for a record here, most kickouts. How many kickouts can we have in a 2-minute period? Crowds applaud him. It's good. We've got both guys in the center, exchanging blows at the moment. Nearly 1,000 votes. Wow. That's impressive. That makes me think that tonight has really got some eyes on it. If we've got nearly 1,000 votes in our poll, that makes me think that there's definitely a buzz around AEW tonight. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, a little reversal by Jay Lethel. Grabs a hold of the trunks. Gets the 3. Jay Lethel rolls up Dax, grabs a hold of the trunks, and it is a 3 count. So it's a victory for Jay Lethel. This match is going off the rails with all the fruit roll-ups, says Zoom Station. Sanjay Dutt is saying a few words. Got a message for you. I never told you who was part of our team. Jay Lethel. Teaming with 2 close friends. Motor City Machine Guns are coming in. So it's going to be Jay Lethel teaming with the Motor City Machine Guns to take on FTR. Who are FTR teaming with, though? I don't know. I don't get. What's the match? I feel like I've definitely missed out on something here. All Out 2022. Let's see if it's on like Wikipedia or something. So apparently it's a trios match at All Out, and it's going to be. Oh yeah, Wardlow, and FTR taking on the Lethal Connection. So, okay, that's interesting. So they, on Wikipedia, were under the impression that it was going to be Jay Lethel, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. And that was the Lethal Connection. And they were going to be taking on FTR and Wardlow. But the announcement has just been made that it's going to be Wardlow and FTR taking on Jay Lethel and Motor City Machine Guns. They did a promo for it last week. The match is going to be epic, says Zach. Bacon of the Ark says Motor City Machine Guns. Yes. James said Motor City Machine Guns are legit one of the best tag teams in the world. David said Motor City Machine Guns and Lethal against FTR and Wardlow. Estefani said greetings from Mexico. Hello. I went to an indie show. I saw Malachi Black take on Christopher Daniels. That sounds good. Sanjay said that he's done with wrestling, so it wasn't going to be him, says Corvids. This all-out card sucks. Well, I've got I've got what's on Wikipedia. So, tournament final for the trios, which I can't even remember the bracket. Oh, they might have it here. Looks like it's probably going to be the Elite taking on maybe the Best Friends or House of Black. Probably Best Friends. I got to think you want to do face versus heel. Or maybe you do Dark Order, and then that way you can have Hangman at ringside. So maybe you do Elite against Dark Order in the final. So we've got that. We've got Wardlow FTR taking on Jay Lethel and Motor City Machine Guns. We've got Thunder Rosa taking on Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. Obviously, there's rumors CM Punk Moxley is going to be added to All Out. And we've got the Casino ladder match that is going to be at All Out as well. So far, that's all that is on the Wikipedia page. It looks all right. Oh, and of course, Jericho against Danielson. That was announced earlier. It's going to be Dark Order Elite, says Corvids. Can you not increase the pitch quality back to 1080? Not whilst we're live. No, unfortunately not. Once we're actually streaming, you can't change the settings. So it's one that I might be able to do and change in the future. Right, we're backstage with Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa looks emotional. What's happening? I feel like I'm letting you guys down. I have to step down as the women's champion. There'll be an interim women's champion. I hope your dreams come true. So Thunder Rosa has got an injury. She is not forfeiting the title. There will be an interim women's champion crowned at AEW All Out. So Thunder Rosa very upset. So there will be an interim women's champ. It's not that sad, is it? I suppose it means that she misses All Out, but she's not being stripped of the belt. She's still going to be the women's champion, but I can understand her being upset at missing out at All Out. But she said, Tony, I hope that you achieve your dream. Here's the guns. So that's interesting. So it looks like Tony will still be there, but I don't know who Tony's going to be facing. Okay, so we've got Colton Gunn. How do you spell it? Going to be taking on Billy Gunn. Father against son. UFC does interim champions. They do. Yo, now listen. Oh, you're about to get a savage beating so bad they'll call another talent meeting. Yeah, brilliant. And what makes it work is the fact that they just make references to things that you wouldn't expect. The talent meeting line is great. That is great. Yeah, man, the Acclaimed are proper over, aren't they? Proper over. The Sesame stuff is over. The Acclaimed are over. Talent meeting line, that's great. Tony loves interim champs, says Jim. Daniel said, I think the interim title in pro wrestling is stupid, and I will always think that, says Daniel. Tim said, a son fighting his father has got to be one of the worst storylines ever. Yeah. I don't mind a son fighting his father if it is the son wanting to prove to his dad that he's at his level. You know, Dad, you're the best. You'll always be the best in my eyes. I want to measure myself against the best. So I want to compete against you. I want to show you that I'm like that. I really like that kind of story. But this, like them turning on him and everything, I don't buy it. But we are underway anyway. Who's your daddy chant? And Billy Gunn points to himself. These two locking up. Billy is in tremendous shape, says Lone Star Friend. They got to bring up stuff behind the scenes to get a reaction, says Cordonordi. Why not? I mean, like, wrestling fans and certainly, like, AEW fans, they are going to, be the kind of fans that are going to be all over, like, Meltzer, are going to be all reading all the dirt sheets, reading all the rumors, like... It's not like back in the day where there's, like, a load of kids. These are, like, the smart fans, aren't they, really? I feel like this is a collection of smart fans that have become disillusioned with WWE, or they still like WWE and they just love wrestling, want to support an alternative as well. But I think the vast majority of this crowd are very switched on. They know what's happening. The talent meeting line I thought was very clever. I beat up my dad once. He was asleep. I got a head start, says Unbroken. All an interim champion is just a glorified number one contender, says Jim. Trini said, I think because WWE show quality has improved, I noticed more of the not so good parts of AEW now than I did before. Edwards says, I'm going to watch in the bath. You live your life, mate. Nation of Domination said, if WWE bring up AEW, Tony file a lawsuit. Watch out. I was positive we were going to get Road Dogg until he went back to WWE, says Andrew. JR just asked Taz if he would scissor with Hook. Wild. 42 minutes in, as we said, we know that second hour is going to be largely dominated with the AEW World Championship match. Billy Gunn hurls his son into the railing. Doesn't she seem to show any emotion at beating up his sibling. Gunn is crawling around on the floor. AEW, for some reason, loves to bring up WWE for a pop, said Juice Tin. In ancient Egypt, servants were smeared with honey so that flies would flock to them instead of the pharaoh. Is that true? That's amazing. I might get me one of them. That's good. I think that's froze. I hope that's froze. Otherwise, that's a really boring clip. I look happy, though, don't I? If you're going to be surrounded by giant Skittles, that's the face you're going to pull. Right, we were on the outside of the ring. I think we were at commercial break. Wondered if you will do NXT and AEW stream together on October 18th, says David. I presume so. Yeah, I mean, I've watched 2 NXT shows and I've enjoyed both. So my plan is to do next week, and it sort of feels like we are sort of back doing NXT now, but I don't want to totally commit to saying that because, I don't know, it could be rubbish. It could go rubbish, but certainly right now it's really good. I've enjoyed, what they managed to do last night and the amount of stuff they put into NXT, I was so impressed with. Heatwave, I thought was a really solid show as well, really good. So, yep. I'm looking to keep doing NXT at the moment, and I think they are doing a show that collides with AEW, so yeah, I suppose we would keep an eye on both, which is nothing new, is it, when it all first started? Like, was it Wednesday nights used to be head-to-head, we used to have to watch both shows? I certainly don't miss those days, let's put it that way. Aubrey dragging Billy Gunn away from his son. What's Aubrey saying? He just seemed to have a moment of realization there that this was his son. I don't know. Stokely Hathaway just wallops one of the Acclaimed with a boombox. We've got stuff happening on the outside. That's distracted Aubrey. Low blow by Colton. Low blow. Boom.
He's done it! He's done it! He's done it!
He's done it!
Bray Wyatt!
Colton wins. He's done it! He's done it! Colton Gunn wins! Colton Gunn wins! How funny that reaction hit just as Colton Gunn. I don't think it's going to spark a similar reaction, in all fairness. In fact, it hasn't, but Colton Gunn, thanks to a bit of cheating, a bit of skullduggery, picks up the victory. Stokely Hathaway hands his cards to the Gun Club. So the Gun Club look really pleased at the idea of working with Stokely Hathaway. Now the Gun Club are kicking and beating up on their dad. You love to see it. Thanksgiving is going to be a bit awkward this year. Paul Carpenter said Billy Gunn should bring out his dad and they could call him Grandpa Gunn. Yes, they should bring out Grandpa Gunn and then Billy Gunn can start beating up his dad. So Billy Gunn's kids can beat him up and then he can get revenge by beating up on his dad. And that's exactly what I want to see. The tag champs are here, and I can confirm it is Swerve and Keith Lee, and they have chased the Gun Club away. So we got the Acclaimed in the ring, we got Billy Gunn in the ring, we got Swerve, we got Keith Lee. There we go. AEW have announced it will be a 4-way for the interim women's championship between Britt, Tony, Shida, and Jamie Hayter. I hope Hayter wins and gets her moment. Okay. That'll be good. That'll be good. I hope Jamie Hayter wins. I was singing her praises last night. What is your favourite of the many versions of Billy Gunn? Probably Mr. Ass. I did like the Smoking Guns, though. I was a fan of the Smoking Guns, but I think like when he was doing his solo stuff, New Age Outlaws were all right. That was all right. But I'd probably go when he was doing like his solo work. Rest with Andy, I hope you are well. Look, Days, it's the champs, but can you remember their names? Yes. It's Swerve Lee and Keith Strickland. Okay, here we go. We've got Death Triangle face-to-face with these people. The United Empire. I don't know what belts they were wearing. They've got belts, and I don't know what belts they had. They had like blue straps on. I don't know what they were. Mitchell said, I am so confused about the match. Who were heels? Why are Swerve and Glory here? What is going on? The heels are the Gun Boys, the Gun Club. I'm guessing that makes Billy Gunn a face. He was coming down with the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed, I believe, are faces now. I think Swerve and Keith Lee came down to save the team of Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed. Yeah. Not personally, not the strongest segment, but we move on. We move on. Let's not dwell on the past, Mitchell. The past is the past, and that is where it belongs. We're moving forward. We're getting closer to this CM Punk Jon Moxley match. Mr. Unfamiliar said Ospraey in AEW is wild. Days, you missed Trini telling us that her neighbor was arrested. Oh, I did miss that. They should have arrested Trini for being a nerd. Only joking, Trini. Daniel said, I think they're building up to pack an Ospraey at All Out when this 6-man match is done tonight. Fighting his dad is brave, says Moldy. Worst thing I did was smoke in front of my dad. Took a team of surgeons to remove the cigarettes from my backside. Half Sports Media, hello. Said, Days, I'm just stopping by to show my support. What's with all this interim champion nonsense? Crown a new champion, not a placeholder. It's one that definitely has divided opinion. It's one that I can't really say much about, though, because it is true. We do have interim champions in the UFC. So my feelings, I suppose, on it are it really depends how long you're out for. If you're only going to be out for a short time, then I could understand them wanting a women's championship match at All Out. So Thunder Rosa, say she's out for 6 weeks, right? It's probably not long enough to take the belt off her because she's the person they want as their champion. But she is going to miss All Out. So what do you do? You can't not have a women's title match. I mean, that's a shame. So I must admit, I'm a bit torn on it. I'm a bit torn. I understand why people don't like the interim thing, but equally, I can understand why you would do it if the champion's only going to be out for so long. You could easily make the argument of, well, listen, if they're injured and they can't defend the belt, you take the belt off them. I can understand that. But I can understand that if it's going to be a short, like 6 weeks, and it's, they're just missing one pay-per-view, but they'll be back after that, I can understand then, like, the idea of an interim champion. So I must admit, I'm torn. I see both sides. Britt Baker making her way down. Let's go up. Trini's neighbor hit a police van when she got arrested, started crying. Her boyfriend showed up, got his car searched, also got arrested. Oh my God, sounds awesome. YouTube going Big Brother and Big Pharma a long time ago. Excellent that Brit is wearing Steelers colours since AEW is in Cleveland. Doesn't mean anything to me. Is that a heel thing to do? Right, here we go. Dr. Britt Baker taking on Kyleen King. Okay, so Britt Baker against Kylen King, and we are underway. Kick there by Britt Baker. Kick to the midsection, though, by Kylen King. Against the ropes. Goes for a knee to the side of the head. Britt Baker against the ropes, stuck underneath. Baker with a sling blade. DMD. Now you take Tony Khan at his words. I'm surprised. Did you shake my head him for that too? What? CJ Different says Aussie Open are the New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions. New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions. Oh, God. So many belts. I didn't even know that New Japan Strong had... I thought it had the American Championship over there. I didn't realise that they had like their own tag champs and everything as well. Wild. Steelers are in the same NFL division as the Cleveland Browns. Days with Triple H bringing back people. With Triple H bringing... where's that gone? With Triple H... It's gone. We'll never know what that comment was. It's gone. I do want to find it, though. Here we go. Michael said, with Triple H bringing back people who got released, won't it make it feel watered down? Kind of like when Tony surprises the fans. Yes and no, but I've answered this question before. It depends why you're doing it. If you're doing it for moments, which is what I think Tony's became, because Tony needed to fill Joker spots in casino battle royals and things. So he had to bring surprises in. Doesn't matter if he wanted them or not. Doesn't matter if he had long-term plans for them or not. He needed surprises because we've got a Joker that we need to fill a spot for. And it is a way of like bumping the ratings. People love mystery. People love, oh my God, who's it going to be? So I feel like Tony was doing it for a few different reasons. One of them because he wanted to bump the ratings. I don't think Triple H is doing this to bump the ratings. If you think about Dexter, he was not a mystery person, like, who's it going to be? He was just on the show. We never knew Dakota was going to be at SummerSlam. We never knew that Johnny Gargano was going to be there. He's not using it as a way of bumping ratings, although it helps. he is doing it as a way of just getting the people he wants back onto the rosters. Like, he knows who he wants to work with. He knows the talent he worked with in NXT that he thought would go on to achieve big things. If they're not there, he wants to bring them in. So I actually think they're two different things. I think the way Tony was doing it was to fill Joker spots, mystery open challenges, and all that kind of stuff. Triple H is not doing that. Triple H doesn't even advertise these surprises. When Carrion arrived, it was out of the blue and he attacked Drew. EO call-up was out the blue. Dakota was out the blue. They've all, to my knowledge, I think they've all been out the blue. I don't think a single one has been advertised in advance or teased. I think every single one has been out the blue. So they're different in my eyes. And I don't think he's going to keep doing it. I think he's doing it till he's got the people in that he wants. Right, Britt Baker gets her finishing move applied and Britt Baker wins. Victory for Britt Baker. They just announced in the bottom left corner of the screen that Punk Moxley is next. So Death Triangle and United Empire are the main events. Or is the match been moved to next week? Don't know. We've still got a Ricky Starks promo. Isn't it a shame about Thunder Rosa? Britt Baker saying a few words. MD. I wrestled my entire reign with a broken wrist because that's what a champion does. Tony, you'll be on a pay-per-view where someone finally gives a damn because you'll be in the ring with me. Here she is. Here's Toni Storm coming down with a little... Look at her. She looks like an AJ Lee cosplayer. Jamie Hayter from behind. Wow. Jamie Hayter from behind. What the hell's that? The terrible towel. Right, we've got Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter on the outside. I'm guessing that must be a sports thing. Here's Shida making her way down. Oh, she's not got a new belt. Shida's coming down, chasing Britt, Jamie Hayter, and Reba away. I do like her new face paint, though. Her new face paint looks really cool. But yeah, like, Toni Storm looks strange with that, like, little... It's like she's cosplaying as AJ Lee. There we go. So, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida. Boom. Let's go down. Thunder Rosa's entire championship run sucked. I'm actually glad she's vacating the title. I don't like the interim stuff. AEW pulls that card too much. That was Jilly. Corvid said, would be very surprised if Shida was to win. They've not done much with her since her and Kenny broke up. It does represent my Steelers, says Sports Media. Edward said, I was on TikTok live and someone said Brock is a better wrestler than Undertaker has ever been. And I said Brock only has 2 moves. What a douche. That's a huge, terrible towel. It was big. I can confirm that. Legend Killer, shout out to you. Thick Hayter versus Thick Storm. Tony signs 6,000 people a month just to do nothing with them. Right. Where are we? First hour done. We're at the halfway point. Up next, Jon Moxley, CM Punk. Up next. Death Triangle against Ospraey and the Aussie Open is the main event? Why? Is it because this could go an hour, and if that other match has to be... Is it that? Why? Why is this happening now? I can only presume it's because this could go an hour because it's a title match. So if that other match needs to be bumped, they will look to bump it. But I don't know that they've actually given that as the reason. Either way, Moxley making his way out. Tony Khan needs to fire himself. AEW are copying WWE, putting the main event at the top of the hour, says Ron. It's going to be a no contest. Andrew said there's a screw job happening here. Corvid said no contest confirmed. Adam said the biggest match in Dynamite history. It's not the main event. Make it make sense. That's the only way I can make it make sense, that this is the main event. Because it could go an hour. Because title matches can go an hour. So if they have to bump the other match, they can do that. But it would have been good for that to have been given as the reason. They should call this the main event, really. They should say, right, we're going to our main event. We do have Death Triangle United Empire on standby if this does go short, if this doesn't reach the hour mark. If this is going to go for, say, 40 minutes or whatever, we do have that match that we can go to. But this is going to be the start of our main event at the something like that. That's the only reason why I can explain it being here. AEW has officially lost me, says Mitchell. Oh my God. Why isn't this the main event? Jim Cornette is going to lose himself over this. Yeah, I think not calling it the main event or not referring to this as the main event is a bit of an oversight. Because it is a bit mixed messages. The biggest match in Dynamite history, but it's not even good enough to main event the Dynamite. But I think this is the main... I mean, it clearly is the main event. And I think that they easily could have tidied it up by just saying this is our main event. We think, you know, we don't know how long this epic war is going to go. If it needs the hour, it's got the hour. If it doesn't go that long, we do have Death Triangle United Empire ready to go. Here we go, though. World Championship. Worst day ever, says Jamie. Not the main event. Not the fun. What was it? Not the dada. Not the mama. Not the mama. Dinosaurs. Great show. Hater wins the belt at All Out. Hope so. Britt has an overdue face turn. Thoughts? Don't know. Think she's a great heel. Think she's a great heel. You could have her as a face, but I don't know. I just think she's that bratty, I'm better than you mean girl, and she does it very well. I don't know that I would turn her face, to be honest. I don't know that I would. I think she could work it. I think she could do it. But I don't know. I think if I was going to turn anyone, I'd turn Jamie Hayter, actually. I'd turn Jamie Hayter face. I'd have Britt Baker attack Jamie Hayter. And I'd have Jamie Hayter turn face. That's what I would do. Isn't a big TV deal riding on this? You have new improved WWE breathing down AEW's neck. Big pressure for AEW here. Well, I mean, look, Tony will have a reason for this. I can only imagine it's because, you know, he wants a big second hour. So rather than people tuning in towards the end of this hour to see how this match ends, Is it a case that the real reason it's on here is because he can get the most out of this match, out of this hour? Here we go. We've got both guys in each corner. The entrances are done. I feel like the entrances and everything were really quick. Like they came down. There wasn't really much that was said. They're now both in each corner, staring at each other. Let's go Moxley, CM Punk, dueling chants. Let's go Moxley, CM Punk. Big match Mox, sign in the front row. Big match Mox. Let's get rid of our poll so that we've got more room in the chats. Draw, no contest, 37%. CM Punk wins 32%. Moxley wins 29%. Really close. Really close. 37, 32, 29, 1,200 votes. Taz did just say the 1 hour time limit. Right, the two coming apart. CM Punk getting a mixed reaction. Well, I mean, Moxley's got his fans. Moxley throwing in some big strikes and CM Punk going down in the corner. Alive for this one. Definitely plenty of noise. It's going to be hard for that trios match to follow this. Crowd are, I think, going to be really invested. Big strikes coming in by CM Punk. Knee strike coming into the midsection by CM Punk. Referee trying to separate him. I never understand that. And this isn't a criticism of AEW. High kick there by CM Punk. CM Punk grabbing a hold of his leg. He delivers a high kick and is in pain. So they're saying that Punk was hopping on that foot a few weeks ago. Yeah, what I was about to say is I don't understand why the referees grab wrestlers and try to separate them. Like, if they don't separate, you DQ. Like, that's the rule, isn't it? Like, I don't understand why referees physically get involved with wrestlers. Trying to, like, pull them off and everything and, like, separate them. Just count it. And if they don't separate it, ring the bell. Elbows coming into side of the head by Moxley. Moxley grabbing the leg, twisting on the ankle. He's got CM Punk. CM Punk back up to his feet. Suplex by Moxley. Moxley not allowing CM Punk any time to recover. Punk's first match back in months. Moxley grabbing CM Punk, double underhooks. Another suplex. 1, 2. Moxley wins. Moxley wins. Moxley just wins a flipping squash. What the flip? People saying, did Punk come back too soon? Wow. Punk still holding onto his ankle. Didn't see that. Didn't see that. Do you know what? Fair play. Fair play. They booked something I didn't expect. They booked a squash match, which is something we don't tend to see. Certainly not when it comes to championship matches. CM Punk is down, holding his leg. The commentators are saying, did he come back too soon? It's a shock. It'll get people talking. I don't know where that leaves us for All Out. We've got... it'll make people question as to whether this is a legit injury or not. We've got doctors in the ring checking on CM Punk. This could definitely be a legit injury. This is really good. I actually quite like this. I actually quite like it. If they've booked it this way, it's a big talking point. Yeah, I mean, look. Moxley is the world champion. I ain't got a problem with it. I haven't got a problem with it because they've just given us a hell of a shock. It's just completely not what I was expecting. Jon Moxley gets the victory in a squash match. Who saw that come in? And if it is storyline, CM Punk's protected because the conversation is, did he come back too soon? Was it too soon for him to come back? You know, he gets an injury on his ankle. And, you know, CM Punk can easily come back and say, I was not 100%. He can easily say that. So he can definitely make that argument. Makes Moxley look great. I don't think it weakens CM Punk too much. And to be honest, the way that this story is being told, I could also believe that this is genuine. I could also believe that CM Punk is actually genuinely injured because it's such a weird finish. Not what I was expecting, that that could be booked, or it could absolutely be that he's legit injured. Because as soon as he does that kick, he starts selling. I actually think that this is probably booked this way, and I actually think CM Punk probably isn't 100%, and they've probably had to work a short match because he's not 100%, and so they've just managed to get the belt off him so that he can rehab some more. I wonder if it's that. Heather said, I had foot surgery. I was out for 4 months. Punk needs more time off. Yeah, I can believe that. Wow. That'll get people talking. That'll definitely get people talking. Right, we're just seeing Christian. Moxley is the undisputed AEW champion now. Moxley. CM Punk down injured. We're just hearing from Christian at the moment. Finger poke of doom vibes. We're done talking about it. He lasted longer in UFC than AEW. Well, I'll tell you what, I want to do a quick little separate video on it because this is one that is going to divide opinion. There's Jon Moxley. I do like being surprised. That's one of my favourite things. There's CM Punk holding on to his ankle. Massive breaking news coming out of AEW. We got the championship match. Champion versus interim champion. Jon Moxley against CM Punk. There was eyebrows raised at the start of this one because it actually started with an hour to go. Not only that, we were told that there was going to be another match afterwards. This wasn't being referred to as the main event, even though it was being called the biggest match in Dynamite history. So certainly some eyebrows being raised into this one, but those eyebrows were raised even higher when we got the result because Jon Moxley wins. I think a lot of people, myself included, thought this was going to be a draw, a no contest. They would then do the rematch at All Out, but Jon Moxley gets the victory, and he gets it really quickly as well. This thing is a squash. The way that they explain it is that CM Punk goes for a head kick. He actually injures his ankle. He goes down. Jon Moxley then capitalizes, hits a couple of suplexes, and is able to get the 1, 2, 3. Now, the way that they tell this story, they really make it seem like CM Punk is legit injured. Like doctors come down, referees come down. There's a little bit of, not panic, but it's really well told. Really well told. And this will divide opinion in our watch-along. There's plenty of people that are against it, and some people that are for it as well. My personal opinion is that I think CM Punk is just not medically cleared. I just don't think that he is able to compete in any kind of a long match at the moment. And I think that this has been designed to get the belt off him onto Moxley so that he can continue his rehab. He can continue to work towards a proper return. That proper return might be, a good few months further down the line. So as a result of that, I think they've decided to just go full steam ahead with Jon Moxley. So I think that this is scripted. I don't think that's a genuine injury. I think, though, he is still injured and still recovering, and that's why the match was so short. I don't think he can work anything longer. I could be wrong on that. Obviously, I'm sure details will come out, but I do like the fact that I was quite shocked and surprised at a squash. I was not expecting a squash. To be honest, I was not expecting Jon Moxley to win. If there was going to be a winner, I really thought it would be CM Punk. But as I said, I think the fact that he potentially is carrying an injury still or hasn't fully recovered probably explains why we got what we got. So, yeah, big news coming out of AEW tonight. Jon Moxley, the undisputed AEW champion. Right now, we have got Ricky Starks in the ring. So, Ricky Starks, they're doing some interesting stuff with him at the moment. So, he is talking to Powerhouse Hobbs. When you decided to turn your back on me, we'll do a poll in a second. You hit me in the neck, and you know that I was close to losing all of this. It's very emotional. I considered you my friend. Do you know what I call you now? A lowdown. That's harsh. Where I'm from, we cut the heads off of snakes. He's really passionate here. Come and fight me at All Out, says Ricky. So Ricky wants to face Powerhouse Hobbs at All Out. And the promo is kept quite short, actually. That's the end of Ricky Starks. But, man, he was proper fired up. Ricky Starks proper fired up. Takes off his shirt, jumps out the ring, heads towards the tunnels, and he's done. Is that his say? Just showing a replay of CM Punk and John. In fact, you could show a replay of the whole flipping match. But just showing a replay of Jon Moxley and CM Punk. What I want to do is jump into the chat. Xavier Spicer. Shout out to you, dudes. Or is it Xavier Spicer? Shout out to you. Appreciate the support, my friends. Mitchell said, if they're going to book it this way, Tony should come out after the match being mad that Punk got squashed and mad that Mox squashed him. Why? Why should he be mad? Two of his wrestlers competed. One of them beat the other in a squash. Why would Tony be mad? Eric says, Punk lasted longer in UFC than AEW. Let's do this. Let's do this poll. Oh, I'm really interested to know. Did you like the booking of the AEW Championship match? Yes or no? Boom. Have this nagging suspicion Hobbs is going to lose, and I honestly don't see Tony doing anything of worth to make Hobbs look good in any way going forward in the future. Top Tier said, AEW is a show that I keep on in the background whilst doing other things. I think the ending will be Ospraey and Aussie standing tall and the Bucks and Kenny facing off with them as they will be facing them next week if they win tonight. Boom. Right, we are at commercial break. How long have we got? 40 minutes to go. 40 minutes to go. Obviously, the big news, if you are joining us, Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is the new undisputed AEW champion. Winning a squash match. I mean, really not long at all. I mean, what, a few minutes? Don't know what it actually clocks in at, but it's not long. One that is very much dividing opinion. Look at the convos, talking stories about that match. Like it or not, it will be talked about a lot, says Johnny. I love Jon Moxley, says Dogs Terra. I like that it was unexpected. You sat there in disbelief, says Daniel. If Punk's not clear or feeling the ankle, then that's the only way to get the title off him. Well, he could have come out and just forfeited the belt, I suppose. He could have come out and said, guys, I'm just not medically cleared. I was hoping to be back by now, but my recovery is not on track. I'm afraid I have to surrender the title because I won't be at All Out. I won't be able to defend it at All Out. So I have to, so you could have gone that way. But I think that I don't know. I mean, I feel like this way, you give Moxley a win. So he's the rightful champion. He has beaten CM Punk. No one can say he's not the rightful champion. But equally, there is an explanation because CM Punk can, clearly say, I was not 100%. You have never beaten a 100% CM Punk. Oh, hang on. Here's Moxley. I'm sorry. Is that not how that was meant to go? People that are surprised. People that are surprised are the same people that wanted to write my obituary when CM Punk came back. I'm sorry, is that not how that was meant to go? The answer to any problem in professional wrestling is Jon Moxley. I am professional wrestling. I'm not just some guy, I am the guy. When is it going to be my time? People are always asking, when is it my time? Moxley says, my time is right now. We're living in my time. Moxley says, my time is right now. David Paul said, what's the better finish? This work to set up All Out or DQ? Big cheer. Hang on. DQ finish. If they booked this last week, brilliant. What's the better finish? This work to set up All Out or a DQ? Everyone expected the DQ. If they booked this last week, brilliant. Yeah. I'm actually not down on this. I think I can understand why people are. I think this has been built up to be something big. People will have been looking forward to this. People would have been waiting to tune into this. I think people feel a little bit duped, a little bit betrayed. I can definitely understand that because, this is a big deal. Do you know what I mean? This is something people have been looking forward to, and boom, it's over within a few minutes. But that is wrestling, and that is what happens in the UFC as well. In the UFC, we see it all the time where there's big matches that, boom, end in a first round. Boxing, first round knockouts. Like, you can look forward to something, and boom, it's over in a flash. Like, when it comes to combat sports, there's never any guarantees as to how long they're going to go for. So I think with that argument, I actually think it's nice to mix it up every now and again. I think just these kind of title matches just constantly going for a long time, like, you don't have to keep telling that same story. And also if like CM Punk's not 100%, it totally makes sense why you would book it that way for this as well. So Yeah, I ain't down on it. But I think those that are anti-AEW, it's going to be really easy for them to like make fun of this. And that's fine. It's their prerogative, isn't it? That's absolutely fine. I think everyone's got their own opinion on it, and that's fine. They're just showing last week Kenny Omega's returned. Joe said it was bad booking. Jamie said, don't lie to yourself. I'm not, mate. I feel great about it. Jonathan said, what on Contender Series last night? A guy slammed and dislocated his shoulder. Wrestling is real to me, damn it, says Alexis. Moxley didn't even get to bleed. Why do you think it wasn't the main event of the show? I can't answer that. I mean, I can understand. All I can tell you is what I said at the start, and that is this thing could have gone an hour. So I think they should have. I am going to criticize them here. I think they should have done a much better job of explaining why it wasn't the final match and why it wasn't the main event. I think, as far as I know, I mean, like, they can be criticized for that. I can come up with a reason why, and that reason is it was the main event. It could have gone an hour, and it could have closed the show. So that's why it started at 2:00, because it has a 1 hour time limit. I shouldn't have to explain that. They should explain that. So I can criticize them for that. Heather did say they mentioned the 1 hour time limit, but it's all a bit like throwaway on commentary. Like, it's still not been referred to as the main event. This got called the main event earlier. So I think the whole stuff around it was not quite right. The whole presentation needed to be fixed and changed a little bit. So they can have some criticism for that. But I think if you accept that as an answer and think that that's fine, like, then you look at just why did the match go the way it went, and I'm fine with that as well. I think that, you know, if CM Punk is injured and he can't do All Out, and they, you know, want to get the belt onto Moxley, then this is a way of doing it, because I must admit, I came into this expecting a no contest or draw. That is what I expected. So they have given me something that was a surprise. I was genuinely surprised. They genuinely gave me something I was not expecting. If someone had come in and gone, do you think Moxley's going to win in a squash match? We would have laughed him out the room. If someone had jumped in the hour before and said, you know, the championship match tonight, do you think Moxley's going to win clean and he'll win it in a squash? We would have been like, no. Why would they do that? Like, but they did do that. So I like the surprise. I think there's a reason for it. And I can understand people will criticize it. And I think they deserve a bit of criticism for not presenting it better and calling it the main event. This is, I suppose, a bit of a problem, though. It's something Tony seems to have a bit of an issue with. Tony has said before he doesn't like title matches starting with 20 minutes to go, because you know that it's only going to last for 20 minutes. You know that it's the main event and it's going to last 20 minutes. So he likes to, you know, if it's an hour, give it the hour. But I think that they could have explained it better. Corbett said, Punk's story so far has been him second-guessing whether he's good enough. Losing because he was trying too hard to come back quick is a good story. If this was always the plan for Moxley and Punk, that should have ended the show to have suspense for next week. But again, Tony struggles and has always struggled with the idea of giving... If this was always the plan and you start this match with 10 minutes, we would then be critical, because we'd be like, what, they're only giving 10 minutes to this match? Like, what does he do? What does he do? Because a championship match has an hour time limit. So he has given it the hour because it could go the hour. And in all fairness, when that bell sounded, I thought we were going for a good half an hour at least, to be honest. As soon as that bell sounded, I thought a good half an hour. We'll get a good half an hour out of this. We've still got to hear from Ricky Starks. We've still got Death Triangle. They'll probably give that half an hour. This half an hour, that half an hour. So if you had started it with 10 minutes to go and done it after every other match and every other thing, we would then be like, they're only giving 10 minutes. This is the biggest match ever, and they've given it 10 minutes. So we would have been. He's damned if he does. He's damned if he doesn't. How likely is it the show does 1 million? Because surely a chunk of the audience will have tuned out now. Now that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I suppose in a way you have got people tuned in for the first hour waiting for the match. You could definitely make the argument, is it wise forget storyline, forget what we've just said, just from a pure ratings point of view, would it have been wiser to have put it in the final 10 minutes? Because everyone would have been waiting for it. And then the final 10 minutes, you finally get the match. People would have criticised that he only gave it 10 minutes. People would have criticised it being booked as a short match. They only gave it 10 minutes. How were they meant to do anything in that time? So there would have been tons of criticism, whatever he did. But would it have helped the ratings more if it had been that way around? That's a good point. That's interesting. Because it is true. People now will have seen that and they will turn off. Because I don't think this is going to keep people around, to be honest. This Death Triangle against New Japan stars, which, I think people might feel a bit cold towards. I mean, it's Will Ospreay is a great talent, but I think you really need to be watching New Japan to really appreciate Will Ospreay. And listen, I don't even know who Aussie Open are. So I do agree that I would expect a drop-off now in the ratings. So that's an interesting point. Ospraey and Aussie Open. Not every match needs to be long. Some can be short, says Krista. If that was the finish, I would have started off the show with short matches. Oh, hang on. No, I think I read two different comments there. If that was the finish, I would have started the show. I'm trying to find that comment. It disappeared. No, can't find it. It's gone. Oh. I don't like starting comments in there. Oh, if that was the finish, I would have started the show. Problem with starting the show with it is the ratings. It's a title match. So really, you should give it an hour because it could go an hour. So you could start the show with it. But if that's the finish and you have to, and the plan all along was to end in say 3 minutes, well, within the space of 3 minutes, you've completely ruined your ratings because people are waiting for that match. And that match is, I think, undeniably going to be the peak of the show. So dropping it in the middle means that you have allocated it an hour because it's a title match, but also you've managed to, people building up for an hour waiting for the title match. And then you've done it. If you did it at the very start, it would be a very sharp increase as people tune in and, oh my God, it's the title match. 3 minutes later, you're back down and there's not going to be much that's going to bring people back up. I don't think this as the main event is bringing too many people back, if you know what I mean. So from a ratings point of view, I don't know that opening the show with it was the right idea. From a ratings point of view, starting the championship match with about 10 minutes to go left in the show probably was the better idea. But you would have got criticised. You would have been criticised because you've only given 10 minutes to a championship match. The biggest match in Dynamite history gets given 10 minutes. Dax and Lethel was better than Punk Moxley. I hope the match recovers the quality of this show. Let's go down. Mostly don't care who won. What's unforgivable are people who can't figure out how he injured his left foot, fake or not. Mostly don't care who won. What's unforgivable are the people who can't figure out how he injured his left foot, fake or not. Don't understand. Are you saying he was selling the wrong foot? Is that your point? We are underway with this. We've got 25. This is our main event. We've got 25 minutes to go. Does this lead to MJF coming back and being made number one contender, says Brenton? That would save this from Punk being hurt. Yeah, there's definitely a possibility of that. I have to think, because listen, I'm only dealing with theories here, and my theory is that Punk is still legit hurt, which is why we didn't get a long match. That's my theory. If that theory is true, then he won't be at All Out. So I have to think that we need a new challenger. And yeah, I mean, I am expecting MJF to be at All Out, but in order for him to be facing Moxley, he's going to have to come back before, isn't he? Unless Moxley does an open challenge, which is very Tony Khan. So it could be an open challenge at All Out. If he does an open challenge at All Out, then I think there's a good chance you get MJF, yeah. That match makes me think pro wrestling might be scripted, says LB. Finger poke of doom, if not an injury, so Punk can be Punk. He didn't sell the wrong foot, says Jeremy. Okay. Punk versus Moxley is the worst finish in AEW history, says Parappa. Are we counting the exploding barbed wire match? I would say that finish was legendary. I know you want it muted, but they did explain most on the commentary and called it a main event. I didn't hear them call it main event. I heard them call Death Triangle main event. Definitely heard them call Death Triangle main event. That main event tonight is going to be Death Triangle against United Empire. So if they also called CM Punk Jon Moxley main event, maybe they've tried to save that, but this is what I'm saying about, like, I don't think the presentation was very good. I 100% heard them call this the main event. So, like, that's mixed messages to me. I think, like, you call CM Punk Jon Moxley the main event, you build it up as the main event. In fact, there wasn't really even anything in that first hour. We could have had little things in the first hour build into the title match. I think they could have done a better job of explaining the hour time limit rather than just referring to it on commentary. I think that a lot of the criticism you're going to see is that the match was not the main event. Regardless of whether they mention it on commentary, I think you'll see a lot of people saying, how was it not even the main event? And for me, it should have been, it was an hour time limit. And but I just don't know that they got that message across. And by calling Death Triangle United Empire the main event, which they did earlier in the show, that only confuses matters more. So I think the presentation's just not right on it. I have to agree that could be tidier. Was the major announcement made? I wasn't aware there was a major announcement, to be honest. Finally got the answer to who threw the pie at Kevin Owens. Moxley is the answer, says Rotem. He is the answer to every major question in wrestling, isn't he? Good, nice, very good, very good. Right, United Empire are in control at the moment. We got Phoenix back in the corner. We've had over 550 votes. Let's have a look, see what people are saying. So did you like the booking? It's about 60-40. So 60% said no. 40% said yes. So 60-40. So it certainly doesn't look like it's playing well with people. So you can come up with like all the reasons as to why they've done what they've done. But the end result is that at the moment, of everyone that's joining us, 60%, the majority have said they don't like the booking. So, and to be honest, 550, that's a good sample size. So I can see that being a pretty fair reflection of, how it's playing out on social media as well. So not quite 50-50, which is good. 50-50 would have sucked. I'd much rather have an answer. So, 60-40 at the moment. Breaking news, Meltzer just gave Moxley and Punk 6 stars. Yes! You deserve it. You deserve it. 6 stars? Wow. Wow. Have you tweeted that out? You should tweet that out, James. It's good. It's a good joke. Moxley didn't bleed equals short match. Noah said, no world title match with one more Dynamite until All Out. Unless MJF comes back, then he's in a bad situation. Lesnar put in 19 suplexes to Cena was a squash. How long was that match? What, at SummerSlam? It went a while. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a few minutes. It goes a while. I can't tell you the exact time. I actually don't know, but I would say it was around the 10-minute mark. It could even be over it. Let's have a look. SummerSlam 2014. SummerSlam 2014. 16 minutes. Brock Lesnar defeats John Cena in 16 minutes. It's a squash because it's so one-sided, but it's not a short match. Do you know the match? Wow. Do you know what, actually? How amazing is that? Did you know the match before Brock Lesnar, John Cena at SummerSlam 2014 is Roman Reigns against Randy Orton? Don't remember that. That will be just post-Shield Roman, though. Shield breakup in like middle of 2014. So that'll be Roman just taking his first baby steps as a solo star. Roman Reigns against Randy Orton. And the match before that is Stephanie McMahon against Brie Bella. I remember that one. And the match before that is Bray Wyatt against Chris Jericho. And the match before that is Seth Rollins against Dean Ambrose. I need to watch SummerSlam 2014, man. I need to rewatch that pay-per-view. That pay-per-view looks sick. Roman against Randy, Seth against Dean Ambrose. That looks all right. I reckon I've seen that pay-per-view once when it was on live. I don't think we've ever gone back and rewatched it. We'll have to add that to the to-do list. I'd be down for watching SummerSlam 20. How long is it? How long is it? I don't. If it's going to be super long, that's probably why we've not gone back. I think we might be at commercial break. The crowd are a bit quiet at the moment. Some big announcements on this show. SummerSlam 2014. Penta in the corner with Will Ospreay. Big chop. Penta goes down. 2 hours 47. Now you're talking my language. 2 hours 47. It's under 3 hours as well. Why have we never gone back and watched that? It's hard to know who to blame for that oversight. Ospraey is pulling at the mask. Oh my God. Always at the masks. Always at the masks. I would like to see Moxley issue an open challenge for a Chicago street fight at All Out. You should do a retro watch along on Sunday. We can't. I think Sunday will be our Clash at the Castle predictions. This match has been brilliant, says Daniel. Flair versus Luger at pay-per-view. Did I really miss much from 2002 to 2017? I would say yes. The timing of the match itself, knowing what we know, isn't bad. Now we have to find out who the contender is. Tony going to try and make the best of a bad situation? Well, I would think so, yes. I mean, I can only come back to my original point. I mean, if CM Punk's not injured and, you know, they just did this as like a weird booking thing, then maybe my opinion of it would change. Right now, my thoughts are that it is, you know, an injury, a legit injury. and this is a way of, just getting the belt off him. That title will be defended at All Out. Moxley will have a match. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see who it's against. I don't know how they're going to address it. I mean, there will obviously be fallout. And, maybe that'll be a big feature of next week's show. We need a new contender for the title at All Out. And as I said, maybe that'll be a focus on next week's Dynamite. Does it set up MJF? It's definitely an interesting thought. In comes Pac. Pac through the ropes, shoulder tackle. Over the top goes Pac. Over to the corner, drop kick. Down go Aussie Open. Will Ospraey charges over. Into the turnbuckle. German suplex by Pac. Pac in control. James said, I just tweeted it out. Oh, it's funny. I'll retweet it. Is it? Did you tag me in it, dude? Tag me in it. I'll retweet it. I think Punk is leaving, says Jason. Oh. I might tweet out MJF is the biggest failure in the history of AEW. Go for it. They could have left him on the shelf if he needed to heal. Keep the interim champ gimmick. Combine with Punk when he's ready. This smells a bit funny. Well, that is true. They could, but I think they want the real championship at All Out, and I can understand that. I think if they were hoping that he would be back by All Out or before All Out, and then it becomes apparent he won't be, then maybe Tony's gone, right, well, listen, I'm sorry, but I can do interim for a time, but when it comes to our biggest pay-per-view of the year, I need the championship on that show. Like, I think the interim title is always going to be seen as less than. And I can understand that. And don't forget as well, we've just found out that the women's title won't be there. That's going to have to be interim as well now. So, there'd be no women's actual title. There would be no men's title. So I can understand Tony going, I definitely need a proper championship at All Out. Otherwise, the buy rate for it might be affected. So I don't disagree. Look, this could be CM Punk getting very disgruntled. CM Punk having enough and, all that drama backstage coming to a head. Maybe. I at the moment, I'm still leaning towards the injury. At the moment, I'm still thinking he's not fully recovered and that Tony does want the proper championship to be at All Out, which isn't that far away now. Right, we are still underway with this. Ospraey in there with Pac. Crowds are into it. Ospraey and Pac is 100 times better than Punk and Moxley. I tagged you in it. Thank you. Right, we've got Ospraey grabbing the arm of Pac. Chop coming in by Ospraey. Pac goes down. We got just over 10 minutes to go. Ospraey in the ring, grabbing Pac. Everyone else is down. It's literally just these two. Pac gets hurled into the corner. Slumps down. AEW is winding down. It's an over-budget startup that's poorly run, said Whisperance. Tony Khan needs to rethink his booking, says Slappy. Why bring Punk out if he's hurt? I think to get the belt off him. I think Tony... Again, it's only my theory. I could be wrong, but I think that there has to come a point where Tony's like, I'll do an interim. God, that was a monstrous suplex. That suplex, he instead of arcing back, he kind of arced him up and then drove him down. That was monstrous from Pac. Looked a bit brutal as well. Yeah, I think that if he's genuinely hurt, we don't know when he's going to be back. It could, how hurt is he? What is the road to recovery? How long is that road to recovery? How long is he out for? He could be out for another few months. I think Tony is willing to run with an interim for a certain amount of time, but at some point you have to draw the line and go, okay, I need to just take the belt off you. And I think Tony might have tried the interim, thinking that Punk would come back by All Out, and now it's apparent he won't, and potentially is still going to be out for a while. We might have reached that line of, I've got to take that belt off you. I need that championship at All Out. So I can sort of understand that mentality. Punk over by the ropes. Tilius says, Tony's booking is getting worse. It'll probably be Moxley versus Mitrovic at All Out. Rick's Knox said, Seth freaking Rollins could challenge Moxley for the championship. Open the real forbidden door. Punk is on the phone with the other Khan. The better Khan, says Jason. Vincent said Kota Ibushi could be a surprise for Moxley. I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know how well the New Japan guys played to the casuals. I think there's quite a few people that watch AEW that don't watch New Japan and just aren't aware of New Japan, and you'd have to do a lot of work to get Kota Ibushi introduced and for people to care. I think that'd be hard, to be honest. I mean, I love watching Kota Ibushi. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm sure there's many that wouldn't, but I think AEW has got to, and I think do, understand that there are a lot of casuals that have got into this show since it began. There's a lot of people that have got into AEW since AEW started that haven't followed the journey of, where they've been and the New Japan connections. I think MJF would be a better call. I think Moxley MJF is the rightful main event. Ospraey is up top. You can make the argument, though, what has MJF done to deserve it? I think isn't the last time we saw him, he lost to Wardlow. So I could definitely see people saying, how has he earned that? Why does he deserve that? It's messy. It's messy. I don't really have an argument for it, to be honest. I can't sit here and say, well, he deserves it because he's their biggest stars or one of their biggest stars or his segments have been the best segments. In a company that's all about rankings, how does a guy that we haven't seen for a long time, whose last match we saw was a loss to Wardlow, how does he earn that title opportunity? I don't have an answer to that. Unless you just do an open challenge and he answers the open challenge. Right, 7 minutes to go. Jericho tried to get out of the match with Danielson to challenge Moxley. You could do that. I think we will get Jericho Danielson, though. Phoenix up top. Corkscrew plancher. Pac is up top. Pac is going for his finishing move. Oh, knees up by Ospraey. 1, 2. Oh, kick out by Pac. Pac survives. Double underhooks. Skull breaker by Ospraey. I don't even know what that was. That Hurricanrana. That was so fast and crisp. Damn, that's such a big move. And it didn't get the 3. That Hurricanrana is absolutely out of nowhere. He seemed to have him up in the powerbomb, and then Pac spins it round, into a Hurricanrana. It is so crisp. It is so fast. It is so impressive. But the match continues. He gets caught into a DDT. Mitchell, shout out to you, buds. Let me get your comment queued up. I'm just watching. I feel like we're getting to the end here. The outside go, Aussie open. We've got Pac up top, Pac. What's he doing? What's he going for? He's on the ring post. Pac is actually standing on the ring post. Moonsaults off the ring post. That took forever to set up, man. That took forever. I mean, that took Pac ages to balance onto that ring post. And then he moonsaults onto two guys. I hate that spot. I don't care if it's AEW. I don't care if it's AEW. I don't care if it's GCW. I don't care if it's ECW. I don't care if it's WWE. I flipping hate that spot. Kip Sabian, we're finally getting... Okay, there was someone underneath that box that wasn't Kip. Kip Sabian attacking... Okay, we might be done with the box. The box finally got removed. We have not seen Kip Sabian without the box on his head for months. Takes his box. There's a Kip chant. Okay, well, Kip attacks Pac. He's got his box. He's walking off with his box. Mitchell said, I love you. This hasn't been the best of shows. Do you think it has? I love Ospraey, but Tony put in all this on him and Pac doesn't solve their issues. Do I think this has been the best of shows? No. No. I don't think this has been the best of shows. I was not a fan of the Billy Gunn segment. Britt Baker against Kyleen King was a bit, nah. Dax Harwood, Jay Lethel was pretty good, but I'm not the biggest fan of tag teams being in solo matches. Jericho Garcia, I'm not really into that. Are you a sports entertainer stuff or wrestler? But I did like Jericho Danielson. So I did like that. Punk Moxley hasn't offended me. I mean, it's... If anything, I actually think it was a nice little shock. I really wasn't expecting it. So I really don't mind that. And I think I know why they did it. So I can, explain it in my head. So I'm all right with it. This main event has had a lot of the stuff in it that I'm not crazy about. So, no, I don't think this has been the best of shows. We've definitely had much better Dynamites than this. But one thing is it's definitely given us big talking points. And we've got another one here, and that is that Ospraey and Aussie Open have been victorious. Here comes the Elite. So we got the Bucks, we got Kenny Omega. So Kenny and the Young Bucks making their way down. They're on the entrance ramp right now. Ospraey telling Omega to come to the ring. So the Elite are being beckoned to the ring. Look, Ospraey sat on the ropes, inviting Kenny in. Come in, Kenny. Don Callis coming out. A solid 7.5. A 4. A 1. Well, it'll be very interesting to see what people's scores are. Kenny wants to get at Ospraey here. So I don't think we're going to move in our poll. 60-40. People think that the title match was badly booked. What do you score AEW? What do you score it? 8 to 10? 7 to 7.5? 6 to 6.75? 5.75 or below? Below. These two just shouting at each other. Days, my tweet isn't going to go down well, is it? That MJF is overrated. I wouldn't think so. That's the end of AEW. Tony said, this show really, really sucked. I don't know if I can go on and watching AEW. It hurts my head. Esteban said 7.5 last match was a banger. 9 more like 300. Could we get 9 more likes to... Oh, for the likes. I wondered what you was on about then. What if Danielson or Claudio... What? My dancing is blocking, unfortunately. What if Danielson or Claudio won a shot at the belt? Could set up potential heel turns by the group. Need another Danielson heel run. MJF seems to be the top option, though, says Brenton. Well, I think you can do Danielson against Moxley. You could do Claudio Moxley, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's going to cause a bit of tension within Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know that you would need them to be turning heel or anything. I think you could get away with doing... I mean, these guys are wrestlers. They pride themselves on being the best. And I can see them wanting to compete against each other for, winning that title. Competition, things like that. So I don't know that you need to even turn them. You could. But I think, like, if there was to be a little segment where Claudio's like, listen, I love you. I love you like a brother. And, since I joined AEW, you lot have welcomed me in, and I wouldn't want anything to, tear Blackpool Combat Club apart. But my dream has always been to be a world champion. You've got that world championship, and I want to test myself against the very best. And right now, you are the very best. Right now, you are the man. And I want to test myself against you. Will you do me the honor of giving me that title match? And I could see them having a promo segment like that and like building it up that way and doing face versus face. You could do that, or you could turn someone. Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely options for Moxley. Michael, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. That's so kind. It's absolutely going to be going towards the new PC, which just got purchased and literally. My bank account is decimated. So I really, really appreciate the support, dude. But how nice is this? No lag. I know. No lag anymore. We're streaming on the new computer. So excited. What a time to be alive. So I really appreciate that, dude. Michael, Ronquilo. I've gone with Ronquilo. It's a nice name. Ronquilo. Makes me think of Tranquilo. Very cool. Michael, shout out to you, buddy. Really, really appreciate it. You should have put some of the comments in, but I would have shared them out to the world. I would say it was a solid show, but confusing. About 6.5 to 7. AEW is digging its own grave. Do you know, we've been doing AEW streams for a long time, and I've got to be honest, there's always been like negative comments towards AEW because you get a lot of like WWE hardcore fans, which is fine. I mean, listen, you get AEW hardcore fans having a pop at WWE, you get WWE hardcore fans having a pop at AEW, the world keeps turning, right? I ain't got an issue with it. I don't care. If you love AEW, great. If you hate AEW, great, welcome. If you're 50-50, welcome. It doesn't really faze me, but I do feel like tonight, for whatever reason, I am definitely sensing more negativity than usual. Definitely sensing more negativity, and I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if we're just attracting more hardcore WWE fans, or if the product really is starting to sour. I don't know. Make of it whatever you will, but I definitely sense a bit more negativity towards the show tonight than usual. Could be something, could be nothing. Mitchell said, for your bank account, I would love it. Mitchell, you're the biggest provider. Pretty soon, I might as well just change my account name to your name. I really appreciate it, as always. I would love it if at All Out we had Ospraey against Kenny Omega. Tonight's show was not great. I am sorry to say that. I do love AEW, but it was not great. Yeah, it's true that I think this show was lacking. I think that the title match really was carrying the intrigue of this show tonight for a lot of people, and obviously that went the way it went, and that is going to divide opinion. I can understand people being down on this. I can understand people being down on that match. I can understand people being down on this show. I don't think it's a problem in the bigger picture because I think All Out's going to be really good, and I think that they will give you a really good card there. But I think they're just going through a real bumpy patch at the moment with injuries, and those that are coming back from injury, I just don't think are 100%. I don't think CM Punk's 100%. Certainly, Kenny is not 100%. Kenny was doing that kind of talk after last week, which was very strange. But he was saying, he'll give us whatever he can. It's going to take him a long time to get back to the level that he was at and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I don't think he is in a great place at all. And I genuinely don't think CM Punk is, which is why I think he dropped the title tonight. So, Michael, big shout out to you, my friends. 3 thumbs up back. And Mitchell, nothing but love as always, bud. Really appreciate the support as we're getting in these final thoughts, getting in these votes. Make sure you vote. We've had 280 odd votes. It'd be good to get a few more. Just get a real idea. Tonight in particular, I'm really interested to know people's thoughts. I always like to know people's thoughts, but I think tonight has been quite controversial, if you will, or it certainly has divided opinions. So Trini said the match of the show most people were looking forward to was not what they expected. So people saying that those being disappointed is just being marks for WWE is crazy unfair. Yeah, I do think that the championship match was carrying a lot of this show, and I do agree with that in the sense of all week it's been built up, championship match. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, this is something people will have been looking forward to. And it's difficult, isn't it? Because if the plan all along was it was going to be a squash because CM Punk's not healthy, you can't really tell people that, don't get your hopes up. Can you? I mean, you can't go, we are doing a championship match, but just don't get your hopes up, yeah? You still have to present it as a championship match. You still have to present it as, what it is, a big deal. Even if it's only going to be a squash and it's going to be short. Your hands are a bit tied. I feel a bit sorry for him. If it is that, I do feel a little sorry for him because, how else do you do it? You can't not promote it, but then equally it has got people's hopes up, and people I can understand being disappointed. So yeah, I get it, but I can see it from all sides. My goodness, I can't believe we're getting Ospraey Omega. If I'm Triple H, I'm offering Ospraey big money, says Gavin. Do you know what? It's a really interesting point because I wonder if there are people like Ospraey who, to my knowledge, has said he's never interested in going to WWE. I wonder if some of them might look at it now and go, might be interested now, because now they will be used a lot different under Vince. Under Vince, it would be sports entertainment. Under Triple H, they'll be used as wrestlers, so they will be used a lot different than when Vince was there. So yeah, some of those New Japan guys might just be like, I mean, Triple H managed to get Kushida to NXT. The only thing I would say is I don't think Kushida was used very well in NXT. I don't think Triple H used Kushida very well at all. So, sometimes the grass isn't always greener. I don't know. I don't expect New Japan to work with WWE. I don't think Triple H is going to change that. I don't think that kind of forbidden door strategy will change. I can't see that. WWE is such a big machine, such a big market leader that why would you want to give another company, a rival company, that kind of promotion? And I think actually Triple H has probably got plans to open an NXT in Japan. They even tried to buy All Japan Pro Wrestling. AJPW, apparently they put an offer in not long ago, a few years ago, for that. So if anything, I don't know that they would want to work with New Japan. They have actively tried to be rivals in recent times. So I don't know. I think if New Japan stars coming in like Ospreay, then yeah, they would probably have to just outright sign them. If other wrestling YouTube channels rated Raw an 8.5, then this is going to be a 7 to 8, says Tahil. Nobody said everyone who went to AEW had too high of expectations for a baby company run by a dude who's got no idea how to run a wrestling franchise. Kushida went back to New Japan, lest we forget. He did. Justin said, what a swerve it would have been to have had CM Squash mix at All Out. Trini said, I get that. I agree from different angles. There are different reasons for it to make sense. I still was left feeling deflated, which isn't what you want after the biggest match. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I do think, though, that there is potentially more WWE like fans that are kind of coming out of the woodwork now. Triple H is in charge. So, you know, I certainly am not saying that everyone that's laying into AEW tonight are WWE marks, but I do think now that WWE has started to improve its product, and now that WWE has started to bring like people back, now that WWE has started to increase its ratings, I think WWE fans can start to feel really confident about the future, really excited about what's going on. I think there's real momentum over there. And I think if you were someone that didn't really care for AEW before, and maybe you still don't now, I could see you being a bit more vocal now. Because, I mean, listen, it's kind of like when your sports team is winning, you know? It's kind of like if your sports team's not doing very well, you kind of just like, you know, probably keep yourself to yourself. If your sports team's like flying high, doing really good, winning the championship and everything, you probably are going to be a bit more vocal. So my mind was actually thinking more that. I was thinking more like, are we seeing more WWE fans coming into AEW streams? Because it's great for them at the moment. They're, you know, great momentum, flying high. Could it be a case that we're starting to see some more of that happening? But equally, I do completely understand that people would have been looking forward to that championship match and it not meeting their expectation. Just as I said, you know, just going around in circles a bit, but as I said, I don't know how else they could have done it. If they wanted to get the belt off CM Punk and they decided a match was the way to do it, and CM Punk just is not able to work a long match, you know, your hands are a bit tied, aren't they? I mean, he's got to do a short match. But equally, you can't not promote it as a big title match. So, yeah, it's just a bit tricky. But I get your point. I totally get your point. Whatever the reasons, you still are left disappointed. Brendan said, do you think Triple H bringing back NXT guys and putting them on Raw and SmackDown hurts the relationship with casuals? Watch occasionally with the family and constantly get asked, who's that guy? Thoughts? I don't think so, because I think that you don't really need to have watched them. So I think, like, you know, you bring back Hit Row. Hit Row were actually on the main roster for a short time. And if you are going, who's that? Who are those people? Well, you'll soon find out. I don't think it makes any difference. I really don't. Because call-ups from NXT have always been there. You could say the same for any call-up from NXT. You know, people coming up from NXT, you used to get a lot after WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania, you used to get 2 or 3 NXT call-ups. And so, you know, it's the same as that, isn't it, really? I kind of think, like, the ratings are not showing that this is a problem for casuals. The ratings are showing that this is really strong right now. Ratings have gone up to 2 million for Raw and held there as well. I think people are actually quite intrigued at the new faces and quite intrigued with what Triple H has got planned. And if people come in that you don't know, it doesn't matter. WWE aren't really making out as if you really should know who these people are. In many ways, it's just a way of reintroducing them. Don't forget, Kylian was on the main roster. Hit Row were on the main roster. Dakota wasn't, but she got brought in with a group with Bayley as the leader. So, and Dexter, they haven't really presented him as someone that, oh, you need to know who this is. If anything, they've presented him as being like a guy that's just attacking from the crowd. So I don't think it's a problem at all. I don't think it's an issue. The numbers aren't saying it's an issue. And seeing new faces is something we've seen quite regular. I think the only issue is if people are going to get burnt out from all the returns, and then they're just going to be like, it's not going to have any effect anymore. Oh, look, someone else is here now type thing. But so Triple H does need to be careful of that. If he wants to bring back, say, 10 people, don't bring back 10 people in, like, you know, one after another in a row. Like, try and space it out a bit, because I would say that's an issue. I would say people going, okay, who's this? And it being that, rather than it being like, oh, wow, who's this guy? And actually being quite interesting and intriguing. Because we've seen so many returns, you might just get to the point where it's like, who's this dude? What's this? And it's just a bit flat. So I would say that's a problem, or a potential problem. But I don't know how many more people he's planning on bringing back, to be honest. I really don't know. But I can't criticise him bringing back Johnny Gargano, because I was really hoping he would do that. And if he brings back Bray Wyatt, I don't think people are going to criticise that either. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many other hit rows there's going to be, you know, that kind of calibre. But I feel like Karrion was always seen as someone that had massive potential. Dexter, I thought the way he was presented was pretty good. I wasn't crazy about the kidnapping. But I thought the way he was presented was interesting and different, actually. So I think if you was a casual, I think you would have been really into, what's this? What's going on? Like, you know, car crash in the background, fires in the background, someone trying to jump the barricades. I actually thought the way they brought him in was quite different, quite fresh. Good. Right, let's wrap this baby up, shall we? Do you think if Triple H got his current position sooner, he would have bid higher for the Ring of Honor video library, seemingly yet to be utilized? Don't know. I mean, like, I don't know how much say he has in that. He doesn't bid on that stuff. It's really down to Steph and Nick. Now, obviously, he's got a more of a say, but I've got to think he probably had a word with Vince. I've got to think when it became available, he probably said to Vince, this would be useful. Vince will have looked at the business side and thought, well, I'm not going to get loads out of it. I can put it on the network, but in all fairness, the network's got tons of stuff on it now. So value-wise, it's hard to know the value of that Ring of Honor tape library. I mean, I feel like it's got a value, and I feel like asking for, you know, a few million, but I don't know how much. The rumor was it was about 40 million. That just seemed ridiculous. And then I think it's come out now that it's closer to 10. So, I don't know, 10 million. Would you get 10 million out of it? I feel like you probably would. You'd have to be very committed to it, though. And in all fairness, I don't think Vince would have been. I don't think Vince would have been interested in releasing. I mean, like, you ain't going to get nothing out of DVD sales anymore. So your DVD sales are gone. Is anyone going to tune into the WWE network to watch Ring of Honor stuff? Maybe. Are you going to get 10 million out of that? Probably not. Would it make your shows a bit better if you had some footage to show us some of these guys from Ring of Honor? Sure. How often are you going to use that? I don't know. I can understand Vince looking at it if the number's about 10 million going, am I going to get 10 million back from this? Or maybe I will, but by the time I do, I'll be dead and I don't care anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, like, maybe it would have been worth it just to have stopped AEW from having it, to be honest. Maybe you could have done it from that sense. We'll have it so that they can't. We'll take it so they can't use the Ring of Honor name and they can't have that. And, you know, maybe we'll find a way of using it. But to be honest, I could understand Vince going, I ain't got a clue how to use this. If it became available now, would they go for it? Yeah, maybe they'd put in a bigger bid for it. Whether they would end up getting it, I really don't know. I think it's probably in its rightful place, though. I think Tony will use it well, and I think it'll be treated right. And actually, if you look at the couple of shows they've done under the Ring of Honor banner, they've been very, very well received. So I think it's in a good place. I think it's probably better for Ring of Honor it is where it is. Do you similarities now in the AEW dramas that of WCW? Do I see similarities? Not really. Not really, because like WCW, they had a lot more control than they do here. I mean, really, Tony is the booker, and he does seem to be in control. WCW is like the flipping Wild West, because you got Hogan that had creative control, and NWO had creative control, and loads of superstars, when they were negotiating their contracts, all had creative control. And I understand that you could look at Omega and the Young Bucks and say that they have got a control over what they're doing. And I don't know actually what was CM Punk negotiated, and I don't know what Bryan Danielson negotiated, but I don't think that it's as bad as WCW. I don't think it's quite as bad. Could it get there? Sure. But I don't think that at this early stage we can say it's got to those levels of backstage drama. At the moment, it just feels like CM Punk's kind of ruffled a few feathers. Hangman Page seems to be a bit unhappy. We know that people like Brian Cage has been unhappy with how he was booked. Big Swole obviously left and she was unhappy. And, but you're going to get that. I mean, you're going to get that. I mean, if you go down a history of how unhappy... Think about how unhappy people have been in WWE. I mean, everyone wants to be champion. Everyone wants to be in, like, major storylines, and not everyone can. You are always going to have unhappy people in wrestling companies. You're always going to have backstage politics, because you're always going to have people having to put over other people. So I think, like, if you thought this was all going to be rosy backstage in AEW... forever, then you were deluded. There was always going to be drama, and we're starting to see some drama. But is this WCW level drama? Not for me. We're not at that stage yet. Could get there, but I think right now it's, I don't know. I was expecting there to be drama. There was no way this was all going to be rosy forever. Vape Ross Vape said that Triple H placebo is strong. I've not seen a change. You've not seen a change in WWE. I would say look at the rematches. There's no rematches. We're not getting endless rematches anymore. I mean, look at New Day against Brawling Brutes that we had for 15 weeks in a row. Not getting that anymore. We would always get pay-per-view rematches after pay-per-view shows. Don't get those anymore. So all that kind of rematch stuff has gone out of the window. Look at the wrestling. Definitely more wrestling than what we get. And matches now have got more meaning. So there's definitely more matches that actually mean something. And, we don't just get random matches now. Let's go to the ring. Here's Dana Brooke taking on flipping Nia Jax. Now, there's matches that matter and mean something. More wrestling, as we said, there's that stat doing the rounds that there's the 6 shows this year that have had the most wrestling per hour have all been Triple H shows. So there's more wrestling. There seems to be more focus on delivering quality matches. I would say some of the matches in recent weeks have been some of the best matches that we've had on Raw and SmackDown this year. And the less rematches is definitely welcome. And the increase in legends. We've had Trish on the show this week. We've got Kurt Angle on the show next week. We've had video packages for the United States Championship and a video package for the Intercontinental Championship. And legends have been getting, shout-outs. And we've been getting returns, people that Vince let go coming back. So people like Carrion, people like Dexter, people like Dakota. So those are names that we wouldn't have got under Vince. So I think there have been changes. You can argue how big those changes are. I think that this is evolution rather than revolution. I don't think that we're completely ripping the show apart, because you've still got Kevin Dunn, who is producing the shows. So the shows are still going to largely look and feel the same. You're still going to have the CGI, the same camera angles. Although there is a different one. That swooping kind of camera angle is one that we use a lot more now. So you've got that as well. And I can see there being even more changes on the way. So, yeah, I think if you was expecting like everything to completely change, you could probably look at the show and go, it's not that different. But I think if you go dial down into the minutia, into the detail, then there's definitely things there. Some of that Ring of Honor footage is bad visually, says Zoom Station. Triple H wanted to work with MLW, but Vince said no, then allowed Nick Khan to reach out to see if New Japan wanted to work. Triple H could see if MLW wants to work together, but drop lawsuit. I think that MLW was meant to be with NXT. So I think the plan was they were going to do something with NXT and MLW. I don't know there was ever any plans for MLW to be working with the main roster. So I would be surprised. I would be very surprised if they work with another company on the main roster. I think they worked with Evolve and then they ended up purchasing Evolve with NXT. And they did some stuff there. And I did hear the rumors about MLW for NXT. But I think the main roster's a different beast. And to be honest, I don't think it's good business sense to work with a different company because what are you going to get out of it? What are you going to get out of it? You are not bringing in any stars that WWE fans are going to be aware of. I mean, who are you bringing in from MLW? Jacob Fatu. Hammerstone. I mean, these aren't names that are going to resonate. Jacob Fatu's obviously got his connections with Roman and the Usos, and he's part of the Anoa'i family. But that doesn't seem like a good reason to work with MLW. Like, if you want Jacob Fatu, just go and get Jacob Fatu. So I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense to me. WWE fans are not fans really that are that bothered by New Japan. I really don't think the majority of like kids and families that are tuning in, the casuals that are tuning in, are really that bothered by Okada and bothered by Tanahashi and all of that. So I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, the biggest crossover they could do would be with AEW. That would be the biggest crossover they could do. But again, they are a North American rival. Why would you want to use your 90 million subscribers you've got on YouTube, your however many million Twitter followers, however many million Instagram followers? Why would you want to use those platforms, powerful social media platforms, to promote your biggest rival? Your biggest rival is AEW. They are trying to grow and potentially at some point could put a show up against Raw or SmackDown and go head to head. If not now, in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So you could work with them now, give them all this exposure, could absolutely bite you in the backside in a few years' time. It doesn't make any business sense whatsoever to do it. Does it create some dream matches? Sure. Can you not create dream matches for people in your own company, though? Can you not find dream matches within the WWE roster? Because I could. John Cena against Gunther. That would be pretty awesome. Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns. That would be pretty awesome. So I just don't think it's the right move. It's not something that I would, if I would not entertain it if I was Triple H. I think doing something with NXT is different, to be honest. It's much smaller, isn't it? And like in MLW, are they ever going to get anywhere? Are they ever going to be a rival? I don't think they are. And I think as well, like if it's NXT, it's kind of low key in it. I mean, you're not going to be using your platforms to really promote that. And it's not going to really resonate and it's not going to really connect the same way as the main roster would. So I don't see it, to be honest. I don't see them doing anything main roster with other companies. And this is going to sound harsh, but I don't think they should either. I don't think they should. I think that from a business point of view, I think it does more harm than good. You said anything is possible in wrestling. I agree, but I don't think they will. Did you hear that the MLB playoffs start and we will get NXT and AEW in the same night? Yes, I did hear that. And I said anything's possible in wrestling. Yeah, and that is true because if Triple H doesn't care about those things and he wants to work with AEW, there is nothing physically stopping Tony Khan and Triple H or Tony Khan and Nick Khan from having a dinner, sitting down and agreeing to a deal. There's nothing stopping that.
They could absolutely do that. But I've just explained why I wouldn't do it. So that's why I wouldn't do it. But there's nothing stopping it if they both wanted to do it. Did you enjoy the main event? I know you don't like those fast-paced matches. I thought there were some good spots, but my same kind of frustrations came out. Like, there was a real great Hurricanrana by Pac that I loved. I can't remember who had him up, Will Ospreay or someone had him up in a powerbomb. And he spun him round and hit this amazing Hurricanrana. And it just results in a 2. And I look at some of these moves they do, and they're so visually impressive, and they just never seem to end a match. I mean, you think back in the day where like a Razor's Edge would finish a match, or a DDT by Jake the Snake Roberts would finish the match, or Hogan's leg drop. And now they're just doing these incredible moves, mind-blowing moves, video game moves. But it just rarely do they end a match. And also, there's no selling of them. Like, you'll get hit with something, 5 minutes later, you're up just fresh as a daisy, doing whatever. The match continues. So, I don't know. The reasons I don't like those matches were, very evident in the main event tonight. And it's just not my thing. It's not my thing. I much prefer, selling, storytelling, moves having consequences. I love Danielson's matches. I love Gunther's matches. That's my style. So I get why people like it. Visually, it's very impressive. Plays well on social media. But it's so fast-paced. I can understand people just wow, this is amazing. This is awesome. Absolutely loving it. But yeah, those kind of ones never quite grab me. There's moments in them I enjoy, though. So I just heard that Moxley destroyed Punk, says Adrian. He did, yes. He destroyed him. I've put a video out on it. So if you want to get our thoughts on it, it's in that video. The only reason I'm pointing you that way is because it's about a 3-minute video. We go through everything. And we're about to wrap up here. So I can tell you, look at this. Look at this. What do you score AEW? This is unusual. This is unusual. This is unusual. I honestly can't remember the last time that I saw a show score 5.75 or below. Well, it's actually tied with the 8 to 10, but 5.75 or below is top. So that says to me that it actually got 26 point something, and it was higher than the 8 to 10. It doesn't show you the point. It doesn't show you the decimal place. But if it did, 5.75 scored higher, which is a shock. So it's 26.5 for 5.75 or below, 26.1 for 8 to 10. So 5.75. And that was out of 463 votes. So real extremes here. Real extremes. Both getting 26%, but it is 5.75 or below that scores the higher. And this one, I think with this show, you've got WWE fans that are never going to love it anyway. You've got AEW fans that I genuinely think a good chunk feel let down by that championship match. And I don't think there was a great deal else on the show that really grabbed them, that really got them. So as a result of that, we end up getting 5.75. Of course, you're going to have AEW fans that are just going to love whatever they get. And so, you've got your 26% of 8 to 10 there. So, and then you've got people that are kind of in the middle as well. I mean, it's really close. It's 26, 26, 25, 21. It is close. But for me, it is quite a headline that 5.75 or below has come out on top. It's really not usual we get that score. So there we go. There we go. Right, we are done. I appreciate everyone joining us. I hope you got out of it whatever you could. One thing I think we can all agree is that it absolutely gave us talking points tonight. And wherever you fall on that, it's something that I think people are going to really enjoy getting their teeth into and really enjoy debating. And it's good. I mean, look, this is wrestling. I feel like I haven't wasted my evening. I feel like I've watched a show. We've got something to talk about. It'll be interesting to see the fallout of it. And good. We will be back on Friday for SmackDown We are doing the KSI boxing on Saturday as well, if that's of interest to you. We will be doing the watch along for that. We'll do the whole event. So we've got a busy Friday. We'll do the post-show review as well, of course. We've got a busy Saturday. And then on Sunday, I do have it penciled in to do Clash at the Castle predictions. So busy weekend coming up. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it, as I said. And hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.